23 for no wicket, and we've got Sibley on strike, and he's facing Mohammad Siraj from the pavilion end. Here he comes and bowls down the leg side, and Sibley flicks the bat at it and misses, and it's taken by the keeper, Pant. So on we go. 23 for no wicket. Burns 11, Sibley 11, and yeah, it is good to talk about these things, isn't it? I think that's sort of the theme of the day. Tough as a little click of the microphone.
Afternoon.
How are you,
everyone?
In comes Siraj from the far end, bowls. Sibley flicked that in the air. Oh, he's caught there again. At short mid-wicket. He's done it again. And the man was placed there absolutely directly. And the second ball after tee, he's flicked the ball straight to the fielder and he's out.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Just like Trent Bridge.
Yep.
That's how we got out in Trent Bridge. The trap was set. There was 3 men there for the catch on that leg side. It was going well down leg side. But that's the way he plays, Dom Sibney, and I'm afraid he's taken the bait and whacks the floor and whacks his pad with his bat as well. And he's just that kind of bowler, Siraj. He makes things happen. He's bustling and he gets you going, and he's fallen into the trap, and that's not what England needed straight after tea.
I'm not sure there's a much worse way Sibley could have got out, actually, because that was totally set. It happened the last match. They bowled completely for the plan, and he's fallen for it.
Yeah, it was the old trout rising to the fly, and he'll be disappointed. England 23 for 1, and in comes Hamid. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Well, so am I.
Yeah,
I really am. He was such a promising young player. He went off to India as a youngster, did well too, got a very good 80, I remember.
Quite be nervous, John. He'll be nervous.
Well, we'll see. But he broke a finger and then completely lost his way. I mean, literally averaging single figures the following championship year, and a change of counties, and he's having a firm talking to there from Rory Burns as he walks past him.
Yeah, deep breath.
And out he comes. 4 games he played, averaged 43, got a couple of 50s. And at 82 he scored at Rajkot, I remember it well.
Yeah.
And he's back. And there was a lot of expectation on him. There really was. People thought he would just carry on. And baby boycott, they called him. And that he would just be there forever. But as we know, you get peaks and troughs in this game. He's raking out his mark there with great determination. And he's making all sorts of little marks too, actually. That's quite a process he's going through there, pouring away at the ground. In fact, he's doing it 3 times. I've not seen that done before.
It's a bit of a trotty.
Well, it is a bit of a trotty, and he's still raking away. But anyway, he's finished now. And he looks around, and there's the man, Rahul, at that short mid-wicket again.
Yeah.
There's
Same
2
field.
slips.
Yeah.
And now Hamid faces his first ball. Siraj on the way, comes in, bowls his bowled him! First ball.
Wow.
First ball. And Hamid leaves.
Bold, neck and crop, good delivery. Just played inside the line.
Siraj on a hat-trick. And you can only imagine the utter desolation that Hamid feels as he walks off, bowled first ball, the long-awaited recall, and he gets a golden duck.
Oh, I feel sorry for the lad. I feel sorry for the lad who would have been thinking about that all that first day in the field, and a bit of a restless night, knowing he's going to come out to bat, and it was a bit of just a bit of a half volley, really.
Yeah. Full straight ball and he's missed it.
Yeah, full straight ball and he's missed it. But he's Siraj is this kind of character. He makes things happen. He's all arms and legs and bustly, and he bowls quick, and he's in your face. Oh dear.
Well, that has taken the wind out of the sails a bit as Joe Root appears running down the steps. He's on a hat-trick. And suddenly England are 23 for 2, and it's a familiar position for Root to walk out at. He walks out at this all the time.
Yeah.
Now, well bowled Siraj. We took to him in the last Test match. Real character, fighter. Does make things happen. And he's on a hat-trick at Lord's as the England captain comes out to face his first ball. And look at the field. It's like an umbrella field from school.
It is.
There's a short mid on, short mid wicket, short square leg. It's just an umbrella field, as we used to call it. I don't know if it's still called an umbrella field or not. You never really see it. But there's 2 slips, and then there's all these fielders.
3
in front of route. There's another one coming in there in the offside, and now another one comes in a gully. But rather curiously, there's a mid-on. I'm not quite sure what he's doing out there.
Sort of lurking behind the 3.
I don't know why he's there. But it's as if Kohli's lads spread out, all catching.
Here we go.
Hat-trick ball. Joe Root over his bat is 23 for 2. And Siraj is on his way. He's there now and he bowls to Root, who plays that firmly and defiantly and safely out to mid-off.
Just gone up a notch.
Wow.
Just gone up a notch after tea. England were doing pretty well up until tea, and they've come out all guns blazing. 2 quick wickets. Sibley will be absolutely furious with himself, and I can only put down Hamid's dismissal just to a bit of nerves. Lords
Just missed it. Siraj again, same field, on his way, bowls to Root, it's short, he swings it away down to Mohammad Shami, trotting in off the boundary to our left, so he's off the mark. Bouncer, and he took it on, and that brings Burns down on strike. But Sibley out in just the softest way you can imagine.
Yeah.
And Hamid, well, look, anyone could get bowled first ball.
Absolutely.
You don't want it to happen to someone who's just come back into Test cricket.
No, nerves, anxiety a little bit as well, but he'll be so disappointed. He'll have a second innings, that's for sure.
Yes, he will.
So you've got to park that a bit and move on. It happens to the best.
24 for 2 is the score. Burns on 11. Open stance. Siraj comes rushing in and bowls to him, and he comes creeping forward. Plays back up the pitch. Well bowled, Mohammad Siraj.
Yep.
He's put India in the driving seat with those 2 wickets. He's bustling, he's in your face.
Yep.
He bowls bouncers. And he's taken 2 wickets in that first over after tea.
He's a lovely foil for the other 3, actually, because the other 3 are so sort of silky.
Yes.
You know, Shami's so silky. Bumrah so, skillful, and Ishant Sharma as well. And he's just a lovely sort of counterpoint, isn't he? In your face, steams in. You don't know what's coming. Could be a bumper, could be a Yorker. And he's made a couple of great breakthroughs for India.
Certainly has. Shami's going to continue from the nursery end. He swung the ball around in his previous spell. Are you peckish?
Well, I don't know. I've just been
peckish when you're watching cricket like
delivered
this.
sausage roll.
Wow.
You can't eat by Owen.
You can't eat that on
Fabulous
the radio.
addition.
No, tough. You can't eat that on the radio.
Not on radio.
Shami's on his way. Bowls to Root. Squared up. Plays defensively. Shami fields out with his boot. And there's no run. 24 for 2. Being under 340 runs behind.
Yeah, all of a sudden seems a long way away now, I guess.
Yeah.
Just thought up to tea, just getting a foothold. Played nicely, leaving Andy.
Some consolation for Hasib. I mean, the only other England number 3 to be bowled for a golden duck against India, Dennis Compton.
Oh, well, there you go. You're in great company.
Well, he is. Not sure it'll cheer him up very much.
Oh, no,
then goes Shami, bowls, and that's steered away out to cover. And how do you break the news? I've got really good news for you, Hass.
Well, I wouldn't say good news. I'd say I've got news. I've got news, young man.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have to say even the great Dennis Compton.
Yeah. Middlesex and England.
Where did that happen? Do we know?
1946 on this ground.
It was at home ground.
There you go.
So,
yeah. That would have been a shock.
Would have been a shock. Shami bowls and the Root plays out very late, waiting for it to swing away. Jadeja's there at backward point, busy as ever through the fielding. 24 for 2, bit of a stunned feeling around Lord's, really, and there's a number of people who I guess are still sitting out either on the nursery ground or maybe in the gardens behind the pavilion who missed all of that.
Yeah. We're pretty philosophical kind of chaps, though, aren't we, cricketers? You'll go away, you'll be hugely disappointed. You might have a little whack of the bat on the stairs as you walk up, but you know.
24 for 2. Then goes Root again, bowls, and Shami allows that to go by. Root allows it to go by. But in some ways, a golden duck, first baller, it tells you nothing, does it? I mean, a laboured, horrible 7 is worse in a way than a first baller, because first baller, it was all like, you know, never saw it, all happened, wasn't quite there or something. Right. But a horrible clinging to the crease, drop once, beaten lots of times.
Yeah, sometimes you'd rather
7.
Yeah, put me out in misery.
Well, I think it's worse.
Okay, all right then.
24 for 2. I'm aware I've described most of your innings. It goes Shami again, bowls outside the off stump, and Root steers that to backward point.
You've just encapsulated my batting career in a nutshell there, John.
We'll talk about players having natural positions, and Hamid has not batted a lot other than as an opener. 111 of his first class innings as opener, averages 36 as opener. So in the 17th time he's batted at 3, now averages just 15.9 at number 3. So I don't think it makes that much difference, but clearly it's, for some players it's
some people don't like batting positions. Root doesn't like 3, does he? He's on strike now as Shami bowls the in-swinger to him, and he again plays it very late, runs the ball away down to slip. Good bit of fielding there, and there is no run. So 24 for 2. If you just tuned in, thought, what's happened here? Sibley was out to the second ball of the first over after tea, just shoveled a catch to mid-wicket. The man close in there, deliberately set for the catch for 11, and next ball, Hasib Hamid, in his return test match, was bowled, completely cleaned up by Siraj, obviously for a golden duck. So some repair work needed here now. India really sense they've got a grasp on this.
I think you're right, Andy, as well. You know, I was always a number 11. Occasionally, I popped my head above the parapet and went 9 and 10. Yeah, that just didn't feel comfortable.
9?
Yeah, I know. Oval, I think it was 9.
Well, a test match?
Yeah, I think it was against Pakistan.
Who on earth was 10 and 11?
Well, I know, they had to kick me out the door, honestly. Kicking and screaming.
Presumably Devon Malcolm forgot his glasses or something.
Yeah, and I can't remember, was it Giddings or someone? Anyway, I think I was 9. I think I've been 9 somewhere.
Here's Siraj. This is outside the off stump. Burns allows that to go through. This is what the captain would have said to those two. Look, listen, lads.
Yeah. I'm going to have to sit
It's a
down.
bit of a surprise for you, but actually Phil Tufnell's is batting ahead of you. Don't take it personally.
It must have been early on in my career when they thought there was a glimmer of talent there.
Right.
But
yes, that was soon snuffed out.
Yeah, it was. But sometimes, you know, you do get accustomed to a position, just the way you sort of go about the whole preparation.
Siraj on his way, bowls to Burns, a prodding, stabbing sort of a drive, and Siraj fields there in the follow through. 24 for 2 in the 17th over. India were bowled out for 364,
which I think we did pretty well there.
Yeah,
I don't think it could have gone any better, could it?
Not really.
What was it, 7 for 80 odd they lost? India?
7 for 88.
Yeah.
No, after they resumed at 276. I think India would have wanted at least another 100 runs. I thought that now, so 450.
Yeah.
But they have now got these 2 wickets. England on the back foot, and Burns squares up and defends Siraj as he bowls short of a length on the off stump, and Burns now goes for a thoughtful looking walk, standing where short leg might be. They haven't got one, but just taking in some air and just clearing his mind, ready for the next ball, listening to the chatter that's going on there. Kohli's moving the field around. He's very busy, Kohli. As a bowler, you must turn around at the end of your mark to bowl your next ball, and the field's just completely different to when you left it.
He captains sometimes just to get in the batsman's brain.
Yeah.
He obviously realises, being a world-class batsman as well, you know, he's a bit of a tinker man, isn't he?
Well, he's laughing now because I think Siraj didn't understand what he was saying. And he starts to go round the wicket, thinking, I don't really want to do this. And now he's coming back over again and bowls to Burns. It's outside the off stump. Burns plays no stroke. So yes, he's one of those very hands-on captains.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was very hands-on. He was always tinkering with the field and so on. And now I think he is going to go round the wicket. But it seems more like a command, a high command from Captain Kohli, rather than the bowler wanting to do it himself.
Exactly. Which sometimes, okay, you know, if you know, we're all captains out there, they say, don't they? You know, we're all captains, and if someone perhaps sees an idea or a plan, but I always like to make my own decisions about over and around.
I think to start with, definitely.
Yeah, obviously if things go a little bit, it's always handy to have a bit of help.
Round the wicket he comes. And he bowls to Burns, who lets that go by, not too far away from that off stump. Interests Siraj. and Kohli as well, who throws the ball away for someone else to polish.
We have a new record, Aggers.
Oh.
To update from the last test. Hamid's duck, the 14th duck by an England top 3 batsman this year. In England's 10th test, it's the most top 3 ducks any team has had in a calendar year, breaking the 13 set by England in 1998.
But there's still 5 tests to go. Maybe 6.
It's a lot.
Good Lord. Siraj again bowls outside the off stump, beats him, pushing it. There's something rather sadistic about that tally as well. There's where you announce it too with a smile
no joy
on
in
your
it,
face.
Haggis.
Well, I thought there was a little bit of joy. Detected a little bit of something. Yeah, anyway, thank you, Andy. I know you take no pleasure from that.
No.
Tuffers, you're going to have to wait a bit longer for your sausage roll, I'm afraid. And Simon Mann's coming in here.
Well, what an explosive 5th quarter now that was. India, they'd stayed very, very patient up until tea, and I think that's the kind of pitch and the kind of game that this is going to be all about. And then after tea, wow, Sibley will be dismayed because he fell for the leg side trap as Shami comes into bowl to Joe Root. He's up to the crease and he bowls it, and it's last on the back foot, knocked away to backward of point, and there's no run.
I really like the way that Joe Root got in behind that. Hands are in the right position. Ease it away. Very well picked up at backward point as well, wasn't it?
No. There's no role reversals going on here, mate. You're having trouble with your
I know, Tuffers.
Your thing. And you never miss a ball.
No.
On TMS.
No, we commentate on them all.
Yes, we do.
24 for 2. Here is Shami going into bowl to Root. Away swinger. Root lets it go. What a chastening 5 minutes that was for English cricket, wasn't it?
What did you think? Just a straight ball, wasn't it?
Well, missed a straight ball. And the delivery before, Dom Sibley poking one to forward square leg.
Yeah, completely.
Same way as he got out at Trent Bridge.
Gobbled up the cheese, didn't he? Nice big juicy bit of cheese it was as well.
Yeah, that wasn't a glorious 3 minutes. I probably got the stopwatch on it. Glorious 3 minutes that for English batting. Shami bowls to Root. Root goes back and guides it away into the offside towards cover, and there is no run. The bottom line is England are in big trouble. 24 for 2 in reply to 364. I think it's fair to say it's been a bowling day today. We've had
7 for 88.
9 wickets already. So 88 plus 24 is 112.
Yes, well done. A round of applause there for
So 112 for 9 today. You might better work out how many overs that's in results. 112 for 9 day. Here is Shami bowling to Root. Root guides it away towards that backward point, and there is no run.
Now coming up, England had 36.1 overs, and now in the 18th here, so heading towards 55 overs completed.
112 for 9 in 55 overs.
Wickets. Pressure.
It just shows how well Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul batted yesterday.
Absolutely.
Man goes back to deep forward square leg now. 2 slips and a gully in. There's a short point as well. Shami bowling for the nursery end to Root, and Root gets one on the pads. That's clipped away for 4.
Beautiful.
Fine stroke, beautifully timed. No chance for Siraj on the fine leg boundary in front of the Warner stand. And he found the gap between the 2 fielders back on the leg side. It wasn't a great delivery from Shami, but it was dispatched by Joe Root.
And they're not boos. They're Roots. Root.
This is very deceptive when you first hear it.
It's the first time you're tuning on.
Why is he why is everyone booing that shot? It wasn't
quite
that
nice
bad.
shot. Yes, exactly. Just to fill the listeners in.
Shami bowls to Root, straight ball. Root comes forward and defends towards cover, and there is no run. It is the end of the over. Siraj with the 2 wickets so far. Sibley out for 11 and Hamid. First ball, Burns is on 11. He hasn't scored since tea. And England are 28 for 2. You need 165 to avoid being asked to follow on.
Absolutely.
But I can't imagine for one moment that if England made 164 that India would make them follow on. I think they would bat again, wouldn't they? And,
Just
wear the pitch out.
Yeah.
set them a massive score. Try to anyway. Well, I think England were fairly disappointed they don't get up more than 164.
Yeah, don't count your chickens.
But Rory Burns is on strike, and Siraj is taking 2 for 3 from 3 overs. He's going to bowl round the wicket from the pavilion end, and he goes in now and bowls to Burns. Burns lets it go by, and it's taken by Rishabh Pant. It has felt like a bowling day today, mind you. It felt like a bowling day yesterday.
Yeah.
Lords used to be, I say used to be, not exactly back in the day, but not that long ago, used to be really flat. First half of the 21st century, bags of runs here, and teams could survive and thrive in the fourth innings.
I can remember Graham Smith batting.
He got a double 100 here.
In the last innings, would that be?
Here's Siraj bowling outside the off stump to Burns. Burns lets it go. I think that was in the first innings when Nasser, remember Nasser dropped him at cover?
Monty bowled forever.
That was the 2008 game, I think, when Smith helped South Africa back for a draw in the second innings. 2003, he brutalised England in the first innings.
Yes, that's when
you're mixing up your harrowing Graham Smith watching experiences from an England perspective.
Yeah. There used to be loads of runs around. I remember a test match here when Ajit Agarkar got 100 in the fourth innings, and India made close on 400. They might have actually got 400 in the fourth innings. Ball outside the off stump from Siraj, nothing from Burns. Goes through to Pant.
I've just heard a little voice in the back of the box saying, that was my first game as captain.
Well, the Graham Smith drop?
No, that was... Oh, was it? Was the Graham Smith drop one to Nasser? Yeah.
It was an easy catch as well.
It was. It did his finger, didn't it?
It's fair to say it cost a few. How many did he get in that innings?
244.
277 from memory.
It's a lot.
Siraj bowls to Burns, who shuffles down the pitch a bit there to meet the bowler. Hits it back firmly. Siraj picks up, and then he's frustrated himself for some reason. Was it because he was going to throw the ball at the stumps at the striker's end, and the ball came out of his hand, and he thought there was a run-out opportunity?
Didn't Lara get 277 against Australia?
He did. That was his first Test 100. 259, Graham Smith at Lords.
Oh.
Then he followed it up. He'd already scored another one in the first Test, I think.
Lots of runs, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the pitch used to be very good for batting here.
Yeah, when the sun's out, it is for sure.
Siraj bowls, forward goes Burns. Can't get it past cover. Looking for a single. No run.
Bowled by Jimmy Anderson for 259.
Well, there you go.
18 years ago.
Cool. What? Jimmy Anderson?
18 years ago. Well, he made his debut here. He made his debut here in 2001 against Zimbabwe. He took a fifer.
Wow. He's been rocking up the Lords, Jimmy Anderson, bowling away in in-swingers for 18 years.
20 years.
20 years.
20 years, yeah. Is that right? 2001.
2003.
2003 Zimbabwe, is it? Oh, 18 years, sorry. I could swear it was 2001. Anyway.
That was 03. They did. Zimbabwe also played here in 2000.
Ah, right, that's what confused me.
Crikey. He's done some miles in them legs, hasn't he, Jimmy?
Man's gone back on the deep back of square leg boundary. Siraj over the wicket, bowls a bouncer. Oh, and Pant just about stops it, leaping in the air. Got a paw to it, and the ball dropped at his feet. End of the over from Siraj. That's another maiden. 2 for 3 from 4 overs from him. And England are 28 for 2. We've had 19 overs of their innings. And it has been really hard work for the batters today. You feel as if they should have been a bit like this yesterday.
It's a relentless attack, isn't it?
Well, the Indian one.
It's just relentless.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we were talking about, should they play Ashwin, but actually,
yeah, it's just relentless.
It's good enough to do the job.
And and perhaps Siraj is the one bowler you think might give you a loose delivery just to get sort of kickstart your innings. Otherwise, they're just on you.
Shami bowls to Root. Root struck on the pads. A half-hearted shot for LBW. There might have been an inside edge on it. Probably going down. And just look at the umpire. Well, there was something on it. He's finally signalled leg by.
Yeah, it was just slipping down.
It didn't look quite right, did it?
Nope.
It went away into the onside. Leg by signalled. Let's have a look at the replay. Yeah, it's missing leg stump. Root stays on 5. Batsman change ends. Burns on 11. And Shami is going to come round the wicket to England's left-handed opener. There's a short square leg in, sort of halfway between the batter and the umpire. Deepest short leg. Shami bowls to Burns, well wide of off stump. Burns leans forward and lets it go through. The drainage had something to do with it. I think the pitch is flattening out, but it seems in recent years it was bowler's ground.
Yeah, when I played here, it was always with the toss bat. Get yourself a nice score, and then slowly suffocate, odd one keep low, dodgy LB sort of thing, and you'd slowly work.
You're talking about Test cricket or Championship cricket?
Cricket, you'd sort of slowly sort of get through the thing, and then all of a sudden it changed. It was roughly when Justin Langer turned up, actually.
Shami bowls to Burns. Burns gets a full delivery, which he blocks. Inside edge onto the pad, rolls away into the offside and stops. No run.
Might have been the quality of the player as well, had something to do with it. But then all of a sudden we sort of started thinking, well, hold on, why don't we have a bowl first? Because that's when there's going to be a touch green. And then they became very, very flat. And you'd never knock off 300 in the last innings, but then sort of 300s were getting knocked off.
Yeah.
When the sun's out, Lords has always been a pretty decent track. When it's not, that's what surprised me yesterday. Actually, and it just shows, as you said earlier, that the quality of that knot, it usually does a bit.
Shami to Burns outside the off stump. Burns offers the pad and allows it to go through to Pat. Because the last time India were here, they were thrashed. I think Rhodes got that 100. I think they were beaten by an innings. And they were skittled in their second innings.
They were skittled in their first, 107 all out. There was no play. Day one was rained off. Only 35 overs played possible on day two, and you bowled out for 107.
I just leaned on my sausage roll, Rory. Just squashed my sausage roll. I was really looking forward to that.
Shami to Burns, again outside the off stump. Burns leans forward and lets it go through. Why did you lean on your sausage roll?
Well, I think he was just being mischievous.
Oh, I see. He put it under your arm, did he?
No, I just left it there, looking all sumptuous and smelling lovely, and then he's just put his elbow on and squashed it on.
Oh, I see. Oh, he did it, not you?
No, I didn't do it. I would never do that to my sausage roll. Food is in the eye. A lot of it's to do with the eye.
Well, it has to look good to eat.
Yeah, it does, exactly.
Shami very wide of off stump. Nothing from Burns again at the end of the over. And Shami's bowled 5 overs for 9. And England are 29 for 2. Well, you've got a chance to eat it now.
I have now. It's all, it's everywhere. Look, it's all oozing out the packet and everything.
It'll taste the same.
Well, don't.
Sounded like a 9-year-old there, Duffers. Anyway, Michael's coming in. He can explain why he did it. The sun's out. I've not seen much of that since Wednesday. And it's going to be Siraj to continue. And he's got this really unusual field, even for Joe Root. He's got a short mid-on, and he's got 2 mid-wickets, or a mid-wicket and a forward square leg, catching on the onside. Siraj is debating whether there should be another change as well. I think they just want Shami round a few metres at fine leg to his left, just a bit squarer. So down to a slip and a gully. Rohit's quite wide, almost third slip really. Kohli's almost 1.5 slip. And he bowls a bad ball first up, Siraj, and Root clips it away for 4. Actually in the line where Shami was fielding before he changed his fielding position. But it wasn't a great delivery from Siraj. Well, whether it influences you if you have those 2 or 3 fielders catching on the leg side, I'm not sure, but it really was a bad ball. And Root did quite well to catch up with it. It's one of those that often go down the leg side and you can't clip it away, but Root is in such good form. 4 more to him. He goes to 9. And England to 33 for 2. Siraj bowls. Root turns to that forward square leg fielder, Rahane, and there is no run. So you've got Rahul and Rahane quite close together on that leg side. And Bajar at mid-on. And Michael's here.
Yeah, good afternoon. Chris Tremlett's in the crowd on the TV screen.
He is extremely muscly. He's really, he was a big man, really bulked up. Doesn't he do bodybuilding or something like that? I think he does.
Yeah, he's got big pecs.
And big, huge shoulders. Siraj bowls to Root again on the leg stump and deflected down towards Filey. Again, Shami underarms the return just to save that shoulder.
Bit of deja vu here, Simon, with the score and Joe Root having to go out there and play the one innings yet again. Look at Root, 10 off 18 deliveries, Burns 11 off 16. That's my issue at the minute with this England batting lineup, is that I totally agree with Phil in terms of this Indian bowling lineup. You know, they're relentless because I think England have got players that are allowing them to bowl all the time. You know, there's no pressure being put back on them. You know, Joe's gone out there 10 off 18. You know, he'll certainly tick over the scoreboard, but India, no, he's only just one mistake. Can't keep being that one person that gets them out of trouble.
Siraj bowls to Burns and beats him. Burns groping for that. Siraj has bowled well, although the 2 wickets he's got are rather gifted. You have your say on them, Michael, the Sibley dismissal technically and the Hamid dismissal technically, or from a technical point of view.
Well, I had my say on Dom Sibley last week. You know, to be out in that fashion, 2 in 2, you know, it can't keep going on. He can't keep being selected playing in that fashion. Hamid back in the Test team. Looking at it, it was quite a full straight delivery, probably very nervous.
Siraj to Burns, up on his toes, knocking the ball into the leg side, ball short of a length. And Burns gets his first run since tea. First run in 35 minutes since the break. Goes to 12 in England to 35 for 2.
Well, the 2 wickets, you've got to be completely honest, should not be getting wickets at this level. You know, the first one, Dom Sibley should not be getting out to a ball that's going to be missing leg stump probably by 2 inches. And Hasib Hamid will be back in that dressing room going, right, what went wrong there? Was it my mind? I mean, did it do much? It was full enough for him to smother it. Even if it did do something, it wasn't a length ball, it was almost a half volley and he just missed it. But you've got to give him a little bit of leeway. He's just back in the side and he'd have been nervous.
Siraj to Root. Root stuck on the pad choke for LBW. Umpire Goff. Not out. Now they're going to think about this. Kohli normally leaves it a long time. How close is it?
Well, he'll review this because it's Joe Root.
Siraj is very keen. And Root saying to punt, what do you think? What do you think? Come on, let me know. And then they go for it. That was entirely expected.
Looks very close. He just fell over
TV
to the offside.
Director, we have a player review for LBW. Original decision is not out. It's a fair delivery. We can move on to front on spin vision, please.
This is Richard Kettleborough, the third umpire. We're looking at the front on angle now. Might just be...
Okay, it doesn't look like any bat involved there, but if we can confirm that with ultra edge, please.
Umpire's call, leg stump.
Yeah, I reckon he'll get away with this one.
Okay,
Joe, I think
flat line as the ball goes past the bat. Keep it rolling through, please. Keep it rolling through. There's no bat involved. We'll go to ball tracking when ready.
It's quite close to leg stump, but it feels as if it might just be going down.
Yeah,
missing.
Pitching outside off, impacting line and missing the wickets. Going to go back to Michael on field. Like I say, the original decision, you're on camera now.
Good decision by Michael Goff, but also I can completely understand why Virat Kohli went for that. It's the big wicket of Joe Root. And I think those kind of deliveries that we've seen already from India, those length deliveries that are like scooting back into the pads, they're going to be the threatening balls over the next 2 or 3 days, because there will be more element of low bounce on this wicket. Just skidded on just a little bit quicker than expected to Joe Root.
Yeah, just seeing the replay, it was very close to umpire's call. I think that's the best way of describing it. So, yeah, excellent decision, and one of those that, as an umpire, we mentioned it before, but it's just lovely to confirm your original decision. To be vindicated. Shami begins a new over, bowls to Burns, who chops that away, and he does not time it. Hits it hard into the ground. He goes bobbling out towards a backward point, and there is no run. 35 for 2.
Burns had played 25 dot balls before that single in the last over.
Yeah, he's just not found his rhythm. He played beautifully here against New Zealand for that 132 that he got. He's just not managed to find his rhythm of scoring yet.
He played in sort of ravishing fashion when he got sort of close to 100, then beyond. He played a whole load of tremendous strokes. Here's Shami bowling very, very wide. And in fact, the first slip, Coley runs out of the way of it because the ball was heading for him. Pant got there first and intercepted it. Coley was, I'm not going to try and catch that. Sometimes you see a slip fielder catch it, and Coley was just not interested.
No, he's skillful, Shammy, because to the right-hander he shapes it away and to the left-hander he shapes it away, so it would be an in-swinger to a right-hander. He's just got such a beautiful wrist to be able to manoeuvre the ball either way. Actually, of all the bowlers, he's getting it skimming through to the keeper the best. Kind of kisses the surface, doesn't he, from his height to skiddy.
Dangerous bowler. Shami goes in again and bowls to Burns. In with the angle this time. Burns plays defensively to ball on off stump, back up the pitch. Shami stops it. And there is no run.
What are you doing with the batting, Simon? You're been around the England kind of team for a long, long time.
Well,
what are you doing?
A bit like you in a way. I mean, you have to take a pragmatic choice. And you look at someone like David Milan, who did well in Australia last time. I mean, I said this before. He averaged 42. I mean, England would bite your hand off for a player can average 42 in Australia. Here is Shami, bowls to Burns, who back cuts for four. That's a nice shot.
Yeah.
Down to deep third, down to the Warner stand. Deliberately played. To the left of gully, to the right of backward point. 39 for 2. I mean, the evidence is stacking up hugely against Dom Sibley, and Zach Crawley's in no sort of form. It's not necessarily the perfect option, but it is an option. And you've got an international cricketer there who's used to the international game, T20. He's played some a few one-days, played a bit of Test cricket. But England are not in a perfect position. They've got lots of problems, and it's not easy to solve them, I don't think.
The sun is beating down.
It is. Burns on 16. Shami bowls. Burns plays quietly back up the offside of the pitch, and there's no run.
Yeah, I like that last shot from Rory Burns, that glide down to deep third. It was a little bit of width, a bit short. But I like that. That's just an intent of scoring. You don't want them to be reckless, but you just want to have an intent that the ball is slightly offline or length, that they're looking to really capitalise, throw a counter punch at the bowlers. Can't be that they're just purely looking to survive all the time.
Shami to Burns outside the off stump. Huge swing after the ball had gone past the stumps there, and Pant was leaping away to his left-hand side to take it. 39 for 2. We've had 22 overs of this England innings. Burns 16, Root 10. More from you, Michael, and then it will be Alison Mitchell.
Yeah, I just see Jasprit Bumrah. He's just strolling off the pitch. Don't know quite what for. Looks like he might be going for a bit of a toilet break. It's going to be Siraj to carry on. Brilliant spell, 2 wickets. Not gone for many runs, just the 9 runs he's gone for in 5 overs, so he's bowling with control, and he's got the key wickets. It's like they're going to change the tactic again to Joe Root. They put an extra cover in place, just the 2 slips now, so more movement for Virat Kohli. Does tinker with his field a lot, Virat. Afternoon, Ali.
Afternoon, Michael. You can't really take your eyes off him, can you? The captain in the outfield. He is so demonstrative and emotional with it. And Siraj is in now. Root falling forward a touch. Puts it into the onside, fielded, a square leg. He rehearses the stroke to play it more in front of square. 39 for 2 then. 3-2-5 behind. Mohammad Siraj is quite the story. I remember watching him in Australia, where he joined the tour, and his father in fact died in November 2020 as he was preparing with the Indians out in Australia. As he rushes in now to Root, gets in behind it into the onside, no run. He was given the opportunity, of course, to fly home, but decided to stay on, which very emotional, difficult time for him. And he was actually at the 5th bowling option for India on that particular tour, and then with all the injuries to Bumrah, Shami and others, found himself then playing a key role in helping them to win that series. But he was someone who only started playing with a hard cricket ball in 2015. Siraj in full Root. Got some bat on it to square leg, has he? Was it off the pad? It's a slip from square leg. He'll pick it up cleanly.
I think, who's that on the field? It's who is that? Fahari's just come on for
substitute.
He went to pick the ball up and his feet went from beneath him.
There's been a couple of moments for Virat Kohli to chuckle about, isn't it? Because there was the moment when Mohammad Shami dropped the ball in his run-up as well earlier. But
Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant, they just talk all day to one another. First slip Virat Kohli, Rishabh the keeper, they're just chatting and laughing all day.
Siraj in from the pavilion end. Root now he's squared up and struck on the pad.
Oh, that's close.
His arms are outstretched, Siraj, once again. Now, will they review this one? Michael Goff was spot on with his decision of not out for Rory Burns a short time ago.
I reckon this is closer.
Oh, he's looking pained. He's got a really pained look on his face. Is he going to go for it? Has he gone for it? No, I don't think he has. Did he? Oh, that was hardly a tee that he made. That was hardly a tee, Michael, was it?
Yeah.
This is
BW, visual decision is knocked out.
It's a similar kind of delivery to the last one, nipped down the slope.
Spin vision, please.
Richard Kettleborough, the third umpire.
It's going down again, I think.
It looks almost identical, doesn't it?
Okay,
as
just
the
keep
Burns.
that rolling through, please. We're going to need ultra edge when ready, thank you.
Struck on the knee roll in front of leg stump.
Ultra edge coming up now. Clear gap between bat and ball. Flat line. There's no bat involved. We'll go to ball tracking when ready, please.
Here we go then. Pitch is outside off and missing by
Pitching outside
more.
off, impacting line and missing the wickets. And go back to Michael on field, please. Stay with your original decision. You're on camera now.
Oh, that's Michael Goff 2, Virat Kohli 0.
Well, he's good, Michael Goff. You can kind of get why they're going for them, because they're probably gambling, thinking, well, the umpire's call, we keep our review. But the two reviews have just been missing the leg stump, so India have only got one review remaining, but it's Joe Root. It's that delivery, it's going to be the real threat. That ball from the pavilion end that nips back to the right-handers. And I'm sure there will be times where the ball won't be going down the leg stump, past the leg stump. It's just such a threatening delivery.
Catcher is still in place at short mid-wicket as Siraj is in now to Root. Defends the foolish ball once more. Running off the outside half of the bat into the ground and out towards backward point. Root 10 from 23, Burns 16 from 68.
So you got one review correct so far in this series?
In the field, there were two. There was caught behind Zach Crawley off the bowling of Siraj in the first innings. Johnny Bairstow's LBW was overturned from the bowling of Shami in that first innings.
Sunshine at Lords. Siraj in forward again. Defending into the onside. Short mid-wicket is there to field. End of the over from Siraj. He's bowled 6 overs, taken 2 for 9. England are still 325 behind. It's a lot of runs that they need to get. And they lost Sibley and Hamid in successive deliveries. Mohammad Siraj was on a hat-trick, and when I mentioned before, only first played with a hard ball in 2017. IPL contract for the first time in 2017, and a few months later in an India shirt playing in a T20. Went to Australia, catapulted to play a main role with the ball, and now bowling a hat-trick delivery at Lords.
Yeah, great story. But I just like the way that he plays cricket. You know, he's a very combative kind of bowler. He charges in, he bowls decent pace. I like the fact that he gets into the batter's space. You know, he's not doing anything untoward. He'll have a chirp or two, but I just like the way he plays his cricket. You know, I remember watching Merv Hughes back in the 90s when he used to come over and charge in and do a similar kind of thing. You know, it's never easy facing a bowler that just always keeps running in hard. He must be a captain's dream.
Johnny Bairstow was at great pains in the pre-match media that he did to play down the fact that there was any verbals anyway, saying, well, I don't think there was any chirping or perhaps in what you said, nothing untoward, but certainly with some looks and some body language you can say a great deal, can't you? And that's the theatre of fast bowling. So Burns facing up a change here with Sharma coming back into the attack from the pavilion end. 2 slips and Gully around the wicket to the left-hander, allowing it to go through to Rishabh Pant. Andy?
Mohammad Siraj in this series has had 5 LBW appeals that they've referred to the TV umpire, and all have been missing the stumps.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pattern there, isn't there?
So maybe he is the problem. Maybe he is so persuasive that Rishabh Pant just goes, OK, we'll go for it, and Virat goes with Rishabh and the bowler.
The look on Kohli's face as he was deciding that, it was theatrical. He was like, oh, should I? I don't really want to. Oh, go on then. I think he sort of knew in a way.
Yeah, that first ball went away from Rory Burns, and what Virat's done here, he's taken cover point over to the onside, I think, just to try and get a visual through that offside for Rory Burns to potentially play a drive. There's a big space there.
Will he be tempted? Sharma, tall bowler in, allowed to go through again. He's sticking to his guns, Burns, wanting to take too many risks.
Yeah, I think that's good captaincy, because when the ball's going away from an outside edge, opening up a space on the offside is saying to a batter, go on, try and hit it through that space, and the ball's going away from your edge. If you get it right, you'll get some reward, but if you get it slightly wrong, the outside edge may be found. So good captaincy from Virat Kohli. The scoreboard's just not moving, is it really? 39 from 23.2 overs.
No. Here is Sharma. Into Burns, that's angled into him. Oh, it's gone straight through the hands of square leg. Burns setting off one, which will become two. And picked up in the deep. It'll just be the couple. That's all they'll get. Axar Patel, I think, on the field is the substitute fielder.
We kept on bowling England out in the winter, didn't he? Opened the bowling on a few occasions.
It went straight through the hands at square leg. Should never have been runs. That does move the scoreboard onto the grand total of 41 for two in this 24th over of the England innings. Absolute heartbreak for Hasib Hamid earlier. The first ball to such a long wait to have another opportunity in the Test team, scoring so many runs in the county championship, and then you're in and out at Lords. Sharma in again, defending on off stump. Burns, the ball drops at his feet.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of elements that you could look at the dismissal. I think the slope plays a part here at Lords. He probably was expecting the ball to come down the slope. It just went straight on. The pressure, the emotion, the anxiety that you take out to the middle, and that's something that Hasib will have to obviously kind of work out what happened, because there's no way that ball gets him out in county cricket. Straight ball in county, he's not getting out to that, I'm pretty sure.
It is a whole different environment, isn't it? Everything that goes along with a Test match. Sharma into Burns, takes some pace off, and Burns does go for that drive. Bended knee, looking to stroke it out through extra cover, didn't make contact. Kohli has his hands on his head, but he knows that he got suckered into the trap.
Well, that was nearly a masterstroke from the captain this over, just creating that gap. It's there to hit, actually, he just didn't play the shot well enough. I reckon Rory Burns, when he's seen the ball purely and he's playing to the maximum, that goes for four. It's certainly there to hit.
Andy look poised. Oh, wait a moment. One more ball in this over then. Burns on 18. Catches either side of the wicket as Sharma is in. Again, angled into him once more. Defends into the offside. And there's no run. 41 for two. 323 behind.
Mark Puttick, who puts up some lovely stats on Twitter, has pointed out something about Hasib Hamid's golden duck. Now, he has the longest gap between Test appearances for an England batsman since Matthew Maynard, who had to wait almost 5 years between appearances from 1988 to 1993. And Mark Puttick's pointed out that he has the third longest gap between caps in Test history for someone who's made a golden duck on the first innings on their return match, behind Charlie Llewellyn, who played for South Africa before the First World War, and Bangladesh's Nasser Hussain. And just one other thing I mentioned about Jimmy Anderson's fifer, the oldest bowler, seam bowler to take a fifer since 1951. I said he's possibly the oldest for England since S.F. Barnes. Simon Wilde from the Sunday Times pointed out to me that Freddie Brown, who bowled a mixture of leg spin and seam during his career, was bowling seam when he took a fifer in Australia in 1950-51 Ashes series, aged 40.
So a couple of 40-year-olds. Jimmy Anderson's got to carry on for another year, hasn't he?
Andy, those journos will always catch you out.
Research. We've got, what was the name of the bowler again who 1951 Jeffrey Chubb. Chubb, that's the name. Yes, South Africa.
GC.
Sirajan from the pavilion end. Root on his toes defends. Forward into the offside.
They're doing well here, India, to Joe Root, because he's a player that's in fine form. And you go back to that innings, particularly in the second innings at Trent Bridge, where he was so pure. He just got that scoreboard ticking quickly. And India are bowling so well to him at the minute that they're not allowing him that kind of freedom to go and play some strokes. He does like to be, making sure that scoreboard's ticking over. He's 10 from 26, so they bowl well to him so far.
And again, defence with a very high front elbow into the offside and no run. And the key is really, it's that Joe Root temperament, isn't it? As to how long he can manage to stay there, to not allow a sense of pressure within his own mind.
Yeah, and also there's no real gaps for him to kind of knock and run, because there's a ring field on the offside, a ring field on the onside, just the two slips. So there's nothing really that you look at and think, he can be busy and knock it into that gap for a quick single. They're bowling really well. They've bowled terrific lengths, great lines.
Siraj was to Root. Fuller is on the drive, coming forward, looking to play a more expansive stroke. Is that inside edge onto pad?
Yeah, again, it's that ball just up a bit wider of the off stump, coming down the slope. It's almost like a big off-cutter that he's bowling, Siraj.
And they're bowling very straight at him. I make it that out of 28 balls, he's only been able to leave 2 deliveries so far.
Yeah, making him play at all times.
Well, you could go back to yesterday morning and probably say that England didn't make the likes of Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul play enough with that ball that was moving around.
Siraj in, forcing him to play once more. That's the relentless accuracy. Root's playing almost identical defensive strokes.
I think Joe's playing so well that a Johnny Bairstow, who doesn't like that ball nipping down the slope, it could be a real threat to him. I think a player that's not quite in the sync that Joe Root is at the minute would really struggle against this quality as a right-hander.
It's all the more important that he can be out there and try and tire the bowlers. Siraj in, Root forward, comes off the inside edge of the bat into the onside, and short mid-wicket is there to field. I suppose that's what you've got to hope, is it? That at some point the likes of Siraj will tire, and then the accuracy will dip a little bit.
Yeah, they will, definitely. Square leg now goes on the boundary, so they're changing the field. You've got to remember that the field inside will get bored as well and lose a bit of patience and start to tinker around. You've just got to hang in there. When the bowling's as good as this is, somehow you've just got to just realise that it will get easier the longer that you stay out there, and you will get scoring opportunities. But when you're in that moment, it always seems a long way away.
Cloud still above Lords. Full again from Siraj. Root turns into mid-wicket. Defensively angled bats, and a little bit of a follow-through from Siraj. A couple of extra paces down towards Joe Root, and a little bit of a look before he turns on his heel and heads away for the end of the over. So it's 25 of the England innings, 41 for 2 and 323 behind India's first innings of 364. And it's actually been a terrific day's play, if you like, for the events that have happened today, if you've been a spectator, because you saw England take 7 for 88, had the drama of 2 wickets within the first 7 balls of the day. You saw a bit of Rishabh Pant come out, saw a few flamboyant shots for him before he and then Jadeja in particular frustrated England. Saw James Anderson claim a fifer and walk off raising the ball at Lords.
And the rest you pretty much could have written before the game.
The drama of a Siraj 2-2 and a hat-trick ball, and England again 2 down for not many. And Sibley's wicket really disappointing. Sharma from the nursery end. Insert Burns outside the off stump, having to play at that. Not altogether in control. Angled into the ground out towards gully.
Well, I reckon India will be just saying to themselves that they know that if they get one, that it's the kind of feeling that they get one, they'll get another couple quickly. They're certainly bowling well enough to pick up wickets. What we've got left in the day's play, Andy? How many more overs? An hour and a half scheduled time.
26 after this one.
26, so probably won't get all those overs in.
In goes Sharma. 2 slips in the gully for Burns outside the off stump. Some good lift and carry through to the keeper. Burns stays on 18. I've got an email here, Michael. This is from George Messer. It's around fielding positions, but I'm going to give you the build-up to it because he says a very good friend of his, and let's give a shout-out to Baz, he says, turned my attention to cricket during the World Cup 2019, and thanks to TMS, he says, I became fully invested in the sport, ready for that remarkable final against the Kiwis. Last summer, like so many others, he says, I lost work and savings, so I took on a job as a delivery driver. As Sharma is in outside the off-stump, defended by the gully, no run. So we took a job as a delivery driver around the time England were playing the West Indies, and we of course were in the bio bubble in Southampton and Old Trafford. So he says, as I drove around London, I spent every day listening to TMS from start to finish, whooping and screaming in my van as each wicket fell. The job went on all summer, so I listened to almost every single broadcast, and despite the very early starts, the hardest part of my day was waiting for TMS to come on the radio. He said it made a tough situation so much better, and for that you have my greatest thanks. Now I can't imagine spending a summer without TMS. I even went to my first match at the Oval on Tuesday for Surrey against Warwickshire. He says, but enough of the soppy stuff. My question, we don't mind the soppy stuff. George's question to us is, every year, he says, I download a picture with the fielding positions and try my hardest to memorise them so that I can understand what we're describing. He says, I'm not having much luck. I was wondering if you've got any tips on how to remember them. Around the wicket now, Burns clips it through the vacant mid-wicket region because a fielder's just moved across to field at cover. And he takes a single.
I have a very basic way of, I guess, describing fielding positions, and I've been doing it in the 100. There was a young chap where I live called Ben Hamilton Ryan, who's 16, I think he is, Ben, and he said, and we were trying in the 100 to explain fielding positions in a more simplistic way. He says, why don't you describe them like a clock face?
Yes.
So the batter is at 12 o'clock. The bowler is at 6 o'clock. So as we're looking now, Virat Kohli is fielding at, say, let's call him short 11 o'clock. And then his second slip would be 10:30. And then you've got a 10 o'clock behind, we call it behind square on the offside, but that's 10 o'clock. You've got 8 o'clock, catching, short extra cover, 8 o'clock.
Sharma in now, bowls wide, a little bit of late shape back up the slope as that goes past Joe Root.
So you get what Phil Tufner couldn't understand. So what happens when I left down? I said, well, it's still the clock face.
Still got 3 o'clock and 9
so
o'clock.
it'll still be 3 o'clock. Yeah, that's a square leg. It's 3 o'clock.
So down the ground to mid-off. Mid-off is through 7 p.m. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. 5 o'clock is mid-on. Mm-hmm. So it's the clock face.
And the boundary is, of course, the outer rim of your clock.
Yeah. Well, it's just
that's the round circle of the clock. Hopefully that's helpful to you, George. Just got to match up the names with the numbers. Back into Burns that time. Root into the onside. Defends the last ball of the over from Ishant Sharma. So Root is on 10, Burns 19. England 42 for 2 and 322 behind. Sibley, a soft dismissal with a catch to short mid-wicket. He just lobbed to KL Rahul, who surprised himself to gollop up such a straightforward chance. Off Siraj for just 11, so it keeps the questions coming around Dom Sibley, and you wonder whether we'll see him on the second innings, of course, but how much deeper into the summer he will play. Haseeb Hameed, first ball duck, very next ball.
England after 25 overs are just 41 for 2, which is their second lowest after 25 overs in a home test innings in the last 20 years, when the Cricinfo ball by ball database has been available. Only in the second innings against Australia at Lords in 2013, when they were 37 for 3 after 25, they scored fewer runs at that stage of a home test innings.
Yes, it is slow going, and that Deep Dasgupta, a lot of credit to the accuracy of India's bowling.
Today has been that kind of a day, isn't it? I mean, when India were batting, they were kind of slow, and so it is now. But great to the bowlers, whether it was English bowlers or now the Indian bowlers, they've been very disciplined.
Siraj in outside the off stump and pushed across Burns. He let it go. He's 2 for 9 from his 7 overs, Mohammad Siraj. So 2 wickets coming in successive deliveries, an incredible moment for him.
Yeah, he's a captain's delight. He just runs in every delivery, giving 100%. And he's got a scrambled seam he doesn't have a very upright seam. That kind of helps at times, especially on these surfaces where there is lateral movement. And the off-cutter that he has comes naturally.
Siraj over the wicket, out pushing it across Burns again and left alone. Did you catch the end of that conversation about fielding positions and how to memorise them? I mean, we all wonder, how did we first learn fielding positions?
I was actually thinking on the same lines. I was like, how did I remember all the fielding positions? And I can't remember how.
Well, I suppose the first thing to do is, divide the field down the middle, down the length of the pitch between the two stumps, and you've got an onside and an offside.
Right.
But even that can be, which is left and which is right. So how do you remember that? But the on is the leg side, and that's probably easier to remember, isn't it? And Siraj is in full. Burns on the drive, and he beats mid-off. Down the ground, it's a chase. Coming back for 2, the ball gets to the rope first, and it's 4. The boundaries have been few and far between.
But that was a good one. It just tells you that he's aware. Rory Burns, even though he's been on a little defensive, but he's ready when there is an opportunity. And there was one. It was full driving length and was ready for it. That's good cricket. That is really good cricket, because, as I mentioned, and once you pull those shutters down, there could be a tendency that even when you get scoring opportunities like this, you might miss out on them, but it's good to see that he hasn't.
Siraj in again to Burns, a little straighter that time. Chips into the onside and finds mid-on.
You know, I struggle when my younger one was 11 years old, and he's like, how does somebody get out leg before? And I tried to explain, and I realized how complicated the rules can be. You know, pitching outside leg, impact outside off. And I was like, okay, forget it, never mind.
There's a lot to think about with that. I mean, I think you start with the very basics, don't you?
That's right.
And when I was a child, the way I remembered which was the on and the offside, Siraj is in, pulled away by Burns. There's nobody at mid-wicket, so there's some safety in that shot. Mid-on was in place, but it was sufficiently wide and up to the boundary for 4. Back of a length enough for Burns to be able to pull it away through the onside, and it takes England to 50 for the loss of 2 wickets.
Yeah, that's a good shot again. He's tried to play that shot a few times before, didn't really time it before this, but this time was off the middle of the bat, got the gap as well. He's looking good, Rory Burns.
Well, maybe this is the time to start reaping some rewards. Talk about the patience elements. Siraj in again. I'll continue my point in just a moment. In now to Burns, pulling away once more. Oh, deep square leg, a little slow to react even, but it's been well struck out the middle of the bat, and 4 more back-to-back boundaries to end the over. Rory Burns on to 31. That's got the England fans on their feet. 54 for 2. Let me comment on that. Aggers is about to come in, but how I remembered on and off was that I do horse riding. And when I was a child, the instructor would so often be shouting at me, leg on, leg on, leg on. And so I always remembered that the onside was the leg side, because leg on. Right. And then for the other side was the off. That might be a simple way, might stick in somebody's mind. Anyway, Aggers is here, who's also done a bit of horse riding.
Yeah, I think I'm semi-retired actually, Alison, but yes, good to remember how to try and get the horse shifting. 3 boundaries of that last over, just releasing a bit of pressure, but England still under the cosh here. Interesting Kohli's field placings. The field there's got one slip and a gully. He recognises that it's unlikely. I think Edge is going to carry. He's put his men elsewhere. Short mid-wicket, short cover. Sharma kicks up his heels, runs in and bowls wide outside the off stump to Root. Now he's been waiting for that. They've bowled really well at Root for the last half hour or so, not giving him any width at all. But that one was dragged down, it was wide, and you simply can't bowl there to Joe Root.
A bit of a gift, that one, isn't it? Wide outside off stump with no protection in the deep on the offside. Yeah, it was more of a buffet delivery, isn't it? I mean, just help yourself kind of.
It was.
But that's the beauty of Test match cricket, isn't it? If you hang in there for long enough, you will get these phases where suddenly you will get these flurry of boundaries.
Yeah. Well, if you're waiting for that, Sharma again on the cross. He's released the pressure. That's edged. Oh, he's flicked that away through those 2 slip fields when I was describing. He didn't do that intentionally. There's a little bit of a flick where he might have been trying to send the ball down to third man, but not as fine as that. And that's a false shot. And well, we talked about the slips having been taken out. And talking of horses, I can hear thundering hooves, because after the horse has bolted, Kohli's now putting Rohit Sharma into second slip. That might just have carried to him, but there was a little bit of a flick about it.
Yeah, he is very risky even when he plays through the offside. I mean, he tries to play that behind square or point region with his wrist, and he did actually open the face of the bat to get that boundary.
But not as fine as that, surely. Went through second slip, didn't it? Sharma again bowls to Root, swinging into him. He plays away to short mid-wicket. Defensive stroke this time. He's on 18 from 36 balls. Burns on 31. He edged just short of second slip in the first over of England's innings. Literally about a foot in front of Rohit Sharma. And then Sibley just clipped the second ball after tee straight to short mid-wicket. Really poor dismissal. Hamid bowled first ball. He came out, got a tremendous ovation from the crowd. Back to Test cricket. As Sharma bowls to Root. Oh, now that just missed the outside edge, and Punt came forward to take it. He might have brushed the outside edge. In fact, again, it didn't carry. I'd like to see a replay of that. I think it just brushed the edge.
I think it did. I think
Punt thought it did. Have a look at it. Yeah, it did. Root anxiously looked behind him, but that didn't carry either. It's a bit of a lottery behind the stump. Some balls carrying and some not.
But that's a much better length to bowl to Joe Root. He's such a good player off the back foot, and he likes playing off the back foot. So I don't mind him hitting through the covers of the front foot. He's cover driving you, that's good enough. Just bowl that length.
62 for 2 is the score. Sharma again on a predatory approach. Bowls. Oh, good ball. That went through a rate of knots through to Punt. It is a lottery back there, really. And that smacked into his gloves. As Root played no stroke, it cut back a bit, quite close to the off stump. But again, it was the bounce and the carry that was the contrast. Fizzing through to Punt.
Yeah, Punt collecting it shoulder high. His fingers pointing towards the sky.
And yet the one the edge didn't carry. I mean, it's you curse your luck as a bowler.
But the length again, I mean, just making sure that Joe Root gets onto the front foot. That's what you want. That's where you want him. Joe Root on the front foot.
Then goes Sharma, bowls to Root, and inviting one outside the off stump, which Root ignores, and it's the end of the over. 62 for 2.
With the first of the 2 fours in that over, Joe Root has passed Graham Gooch, who had 8,900 runs. He's now the second highest Test run scorer for England. Alistair Cook way out in front, 12,472. Root now 16th on the all-comers list from all countries. England had scored 42 from the first 26.2 overs and got 20 and 6 balls.
And number of tests compared to Graham?
Root is in his 107th. Gooch played 118. Root's current average 49.2. Gooch's was 42.5. He had that incredible sort of 4-year period at the end of his career in his late 30s and early 40s.
Yep. Now we've got Bumrah back. Yes, we have. He only bowled 5 overs early on, 3 of which were maidens, but he's having a change of ends, going from the pavilion end, bowling to Burns. Again, that short mid-wicket there. Kohli likes that spot. It's 3 slips. Bumrah stutters and then comes into bowls, and Burns flicks him away wristily past that position. And that'll be 4, I think, the ball running away, even though it's up the slope. There's 3 fielders after it, but the ball was urged on or was sucked over to the boundary by the crowd there in the grandstand, urging it on.
Well, that's the 6th boundary in the last, 13 deliveries now? And suddenly, after a kind of a quietish period, got this flurry of boundaries. Yeah, Bumrah trying to, again, very, very straight with 4 fielders on the onside, especially that short mid-wicket, which has been pushed back now to a more orthodox mid-wicket, trying to be really straight here to Rory Burns.
Bumrah over the wicket, bowls to Burns, who stands up, plays from the crease, pushes it out to cover. 66 for 2. Are you enjoying the Lord's atmosphere, Dee?
Oh, loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Tomorrow, I think, even something about a Saturday at a Lord's Test match is just, I don't know, even more special. The sun shines. It's
and Agas, anyone
who's proper moment, sporting moment it is.
Yeah, and anyone who says Test match cricket isn't that interesting, or people don't come to watch it, they should come here now.
Right, it's just buzzing. Bumrah moves in, bowls to Burns, drives him. Now that's a good shot at the mid-wicket. Who's been put back to save a single, able to cover that one, moving to his right.
And Virat's running all the way up to Bumrah from slips. He's got a view. I mean, he wants him to do something. It'll be interesting after this conversation that Virat has with Bumrah, if there's any change in field placement.
The cunning plan, whatever Kohli has seen there, and that's coming all the way back. He's got to run all Bumrah's run-up length, and then the length of the pitch, and all the way down to his position at first slip. He's just about got there. He's got a sleeveless sweater on, and he's taken up his position. So Bumrah's going to come round the wicket. Burns changing therefore his guard, pouring away at the crease with his boot, and then checks the guard again from the umpire. Umpire Goff was having an excellent game. I think we don't get many wrong, these umpires at the LBWs. Excellent. Bumrah round the wicket, bowls to Burns, who watches that go through outside his off stump. Punt collects it, who's actually so far not had too many problems keeping. Lords, we talked about, can be quite awkward for wicketkeepers. The ball swinging often after it pitches, so on the way through to the wicketkeeper you see quite a few fumbles, but so far Punt's done very well. 67 for 2.
Yeah, as a keeper, when it comes to England, it has its own challenges. As you mentioned, the ball wobbles quite a bit.
Wobbles, it dips, sorts of things. 67 for 2. Burns waits as this one is just short enough for him to chop away down to backward point, but not the width really to hit that harder. And Jadeja, he's got a long sleeve sweater on actually there at backward point, does the fielding. It's not that chilly, but I guess so used to the hotter climes. Which city's Jadeja from?
Jadeja's from Rajkot.
Rajkot, that could be hot.
That's very hot. Place for Saurashtra. I mean, Saurashtra, okay, after this delivery, tell you more about it.
Bumrah moves in, bowls, Burns plays no stroke, and Bumrah's got his arms outstretched there, thinking, oh, that might have just have come through.
And Saurashtra, it's part of Gujarat, which is western part of India, and it's only a small district, and it has its own first-class side. Both Pujara and Jadeja, they come from Saurashtra, and play for Saurashtra, come from Rajkot, the main city of the district there, and they won the Ranji Trophy last time.
Good Lord.
It's the first-class tournament in India.
It did have a really small little cricket ground in there. I remember Yuvraj smashing 100 on a one-day international against England, and this one's played away into the leg side, fielded by Bumrah to end his over. I think there might be a drinks break now by the look of it. 67 for 2. It was a really lovely little ground. I mean, it was packed, and there's certainly plenty of spectators in there, but the playing area itself, and now I think they've got a new stadium there.
New stadium, massive stadium that they've got now.
I think the test match on the last tour there was played there.
Yes, and England did really well. I think Hasib Hamid, was he on debut? He made his debut there in 2016, I guess.
That's when he got his 80 odd, yes.
Yeah. It's a lovely surface to bat on.
Isn't it a vegetarian state as well? It is. Yeah, no, that was great. I loved the experience. Not being a vegetarian here, but actually there was very little choice but to go vegetarian, and really enjoyed it.
But did you have the Gujarati thali there?
I think I tried just about everything without necessarily knowing what it was. Yeah, it's just part of the charms of touring, something like that, where you have no choice, so in you go. It's dry and vegetarian, isn't it? There's no alcohol either. So always round everyone a lot of good. Nice part of the world. So drinks here, and it's been a fascinating day's cricket. It really has. 67 for 2, 35 to Burns now, 18 to Root. Say they have really bowled very well at England's captain, who came out again under pressure, 2 wickets down. Sibley's dismissal, well, to say to disappoint him is one of the biggest understatements I think of the year, possibly the decade, because it was just the tamest, softest dismissal for someone who's clearly batting for his place. But it's one of those sort of shake the head moments, I'm afraid, just plonking a catch to short mid-wicket and second ball after tea. Absolutely has picked out the man who put there deliberately, because he got out that way in the last test match. So he was out for 11, and out came Hasib Hamid. A really warm welcome back to Test cricket. He's waited, of course, all these years for that. Worked very, very hard. And his stumps were splattered first ball by Mohammad Siraj. It's a cruel game, very cruel game. You could just feel his despondency as he walked off, and for many of the crowd too. Not all of them, of course. There were some Indian supporters here, but for him personally, and for those of us who are looking forward to seeing him bat again, actually.
And you know what? He would go back and look at the replay and be more disappointed because it was a good delivery. Can't take anything away from the delivery itself, but it's something that he should have dealt with. It was predominantly a straight delivery, foolish delivery.
Yeah.
Something that would be really disappointed, just play the wrong line.
He'll be reliving that, I'm afraid, as he retires to his hotel room this evening, wondering how he missed it. But it happens, doesn't it? And anyone could be out first ball. But it's a cruel dismissal on your return to Test cricket. Deep, one or two more thoughts from you, and then Isha will come in.
Thank you, Agus. Yeah, I mean, it is, and one of the best things as a bowler you can do against somebody like Hamid, who's coming after 4 years, 5 years back into the international fold, is bowl full, attack the stumps, because obviously as a batter you're nervous. You're anyways nervous, but especially if you're making a comeback, you're that much more nervous. Your feet might not move. That's exactly what happened with Hamid. He was a little late moving his feet, playing at the wrong line. But yeah, you got a feel for him.
Good afternoon, Deep. As Isha Sharma comes in from the nursery end. Root tucks it away, backward a square for a single. Going to sprint back for two. Nearly topples over after he turns and goes. But he manages to keep his composure as he moves to 20, 69 for two, trailing by 295 here, England. Day 2 of Lord's. Just operated the electric blinds because the sun is fiercely piercing through the blanket of cloud above into the commentary box.
The weather's been really kind today, isn't it? Even, I mean, leaving aside the first session yesterday, it's been really kind.
Root still in his crease and upright, bat hovering back and across, guides the ball backward a point in between gully and point down to the third man boundary, just in front of the tavern stand. It goes for 4 as the resounding Root is called out around Laws. Moves to 24, 73 for 2, England. A flurry of boundaries in the last few overs.
Yeah, things have just opened up a bit for both Joe Root and Rory Burns. Again, a wonderful shot, and how wristy he is, Joe Root, even on the offside. It's very normal to be wristy on the onside, but even through off. I mean, he loves playing through that point and behind point area where he gets a lot of runs.
He's got a deep point in position now, Ishant Sharma, who pushes away past the umpire. Root on the front foot driving to cover, no run. Slightly fuller at that delivery, 85 miles an hour that Ishant Sharma is operating at.
Yeah, the 50 partnership came up with it with that 4 in 14.5 overs. 19 runs in the first 11.5 and then 31 in 3 overs with 7 boundaries.
Much needed. It's down to that man, Joe Root again, alongside Rory Burns, who feel much better making a score in this test match. As Ishant Sharma bounding in past the stumps to Root, who plays straight back down the pitch, a straighter delivery on around that middle stump. Gentle breeze here at Lord's, flags blowing in the distance above the red brick pavilion on the other side of the ground, and it really is a picture here today at Lord's. Lots of red dotted around, red for Ruth Day. And
you're looking good in your red as well.
Thanks.
Isha?
Blood orange.
Oh, blood orange is it called, is it? Oh god. Yeah,
it is red. It's the closest thing to red I could get. As Ishant Sharma continues. Shuffles in now past the umpire to Root, who's back in his crease, beats the edge, almost dives down the slope through to Rishabh Pant, who takes it on the half volley.
Again, that's the length you want to bowl. Just get Joe Root on the front foot. He's so comfortable playing off the back foot. Just make sure he's on the front foot.
Deep, would this have been one of the first times in the media centre here at Lord's?
No, second time actually.
Second time.
Yeah, I was here 2018 as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's I think this is one of the best vantage points in world cricket. I don't know if you agree.
Absolutely.
Kolkata, obviously, Eden Gardens is your home patch.
Home's home.
Ishan is into Root, who's covering the off stump forward and solid in defence, playing it to mid-off at the end of the over, 73 for 2.
Yeah, but talking about this media zone here, I mean, this is amazing, isn't it? I mean, the vantage point, as you mentioned, right on top of the pitch. I mean, I'm actually sitting right behind the umpire. I mean, that's how straight I am. It's just wonderful. Obviously, you at a pretty high position as well, so you can actually watch everything that's happening.
It's slightly different in Kolkata, isn't it? Because the commentary box is actually quite small. So
yeah, you can say that.
You feel quite squished together when you're in there. But the buzz and the atmosphere you get there is very different to
absolutely when you have what
you would get here at Lord's.
I mean, now it's down to 66 or 67,000, but before those bucket seats were placed, it was 90,000+. I can't wait. I mean, the new stadium in Gujarat and Ahmedabad, that seats around 120,000 people.
Here comes Jasprit Bumrah bowling round the wicket from the pavilion end to Burns, who dabs at the ball outside the off stump. Very characteristic shot from him, a good length delivery just down the slope and guides it to gully on the bounce. Yeah, I remember doing some research on that ground, and I remember going on the internet, and I think the ambition initially was for it to be up to 200,000.
Oh my God.
Which I thought was quite ambitious at the time, as Bumrah stutters in past the umpire, round the wicket to Burns, who's defending onto the stumps nearly. He plays it into the ground. He plays it so late, and it bounces up and over.
Yeah, so the Ahmedabad Stadium, the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, the ODIs happened there, right, when England were over for the series, and only 50% of the public were allowed to come in. I mean, tickets were sold. There were like 50,000-60,000 people there.
The left-handed Burns back and across, this time through bat and pad, through to the keeper, cutting up the slope from Bumrah. A couple of hairy moments there for Rory Burns, who has a smile on his face, looking down at the England captain at the other end, who's just coming down the pitch now to offer some calm. Yeah, lovely seam presentation from Bumrah as we look at the replay. Here he comes again. Burns this time leaves, and that was probably about an inch away from the top of off as it goes through. Arms aloft from Bumrah as he follows through and his delivery stride.
He's bowling a brilliant line, isn't he? I mean, just outside that off stump, and now that he's bowling round the wicket, obviously the slope will take it away from Rory Burns, but the natural angle coming round the wicket will actually make Rory Burns play more often than not.
That open stance again. Burns this time tucks it away out to deep square for good length, just zoning in on the pads on that occasion. Just waits and plays it nicely. Burns moves to 36, 74 for 2. Are you one for trying to seek out Bengali cuisine while you're here, Deep?
Yeah, I won't mind at all. What's your favourite?
Probably Ilish Mach, which is
Bhape, steamed fish.
Freshwater fish.
What's the English word for
Hilsa.
Hilsa, yeah. Hilsa.
There are actually quite a few places in London you can get it.
Right. With mustard and all.
Yep. As Bumrah is into Root on the back foot, dabbing the ball to backward point, no run.
Oh God, I'm hungry now. Yeah, steamed hilsa with mustard and steamed rice.
From the Bay of Bengal.
Oh yes.
Fish eaters in Kolkata, northeast of India and Bangladesh, of course. Very similar cuisine. So yeah, if you go to, I think it's Drummond Street near Euston, you get a lot of good curry houses. I think there's a a street lined full of curry houses.
Nice, but you need to take me there.
Yeah, okay. Deal.
I won't mind prawns as well. Malai curry,
prawns.
like coconut, milk and all.
Yeah.
That's not fair. It's not fair.
Ishant Sharma then will be bowling around the wicket to the left-handed Burns. He's got 2 men back in the deep on the leg side at deep square and fine, who's probably about 20 metres off the boundary. Sharma in, Burns back and defends the ball to the offside. No run. This was a place that Ishant Sharma picked up his 7th back in 2014, Andy?
Yes.
Yep.
I mentioned earlier on, he's only taken 1 first innings wicket. This is his 4th test at Lords. But he had a 4th and a 7th in the 2 second innings he's bowled.
I remember that game because it was the uneven bounce, wasn't it? That's why he was bowling a lot of short stuff.
The last 5 wickets that he took as England sank to defeat were all from short pitch balls.
I remember Joe Root, I think, played one and hit it straight to a fielder on the boundaries. Sharma bounds in round the wicket to Burns, who guides that through the covers. That is exquisite timing. Into the boundary now in front of the grandstand as Burns moves to 40, 78 for 2.
Well, that's as good a cover drive as you'll ever see. Beautiful foot movement, transfer of body weight, head over the ball. What a shot.
Yeah, good length delivery, just looking to shape the ball away from the left-hander up the slope. He is very good at doing that. Ishant Sharma, one of the best in the world, you would say, alongside Stuart Broad. Bowling round the wicket, that natural action that he has and the wrist position that allows him to get that shape as he comes in again now. Burns this time leaves the ball, and this time it pitches and goes down the slope through to Rishabh Pant. 2 slips in a gully in position. Just moves someone out of that cover region for Ishant Sharma.
It's a big game for Ishant as well, because obviously the second innings of the World Test Championship, he looked a little tired as well, wasn't really bowling at his best. Yeah, missed out on the first Test match because of a niggle. He's fit now, but then if you're going in with 4 seamers and then Shardul's fit, then you're going to start thinking, because it's going to be between Siraj and him, if Shardul's fit enough to play and India is still going with 4 seamers. So yeah, I mean,
they've got tremendous depth as Sharma passes stumps to Burns, who's blocking the ball in front of off stump. Stops in front of him as the ball is collected. No run. After that series in Australia, I think a lot of teams around the world stood up and took notice about the actual depth of this Indian lineup and how players coming in and the ability to perform under pressure against a world-class pace attack in Australia, and some very experienced and skillful batsmen as well. In the cauldron of playing in Australian conditions. Sharma bowls full this time. Burns allows it to go through.
It surprised quite a few. Surprised quite a few people back in India as well. The depth that team, particular team in Australia, showed. But you got to give credit to the system. I mean, the system and what India's been doing last 2-3 years with this whole India A circuit as well. So most of these players that you've seen in Australia making their debuts and all, they've all come from the system of obviously the first class cricket, but also playing for India A. And Rahul Dravid being, heading that part of the Indian cricket system, the under-19 and the India A. I mean, that definitely does help.
And I suppose that is now the route to entry, because a lot of the sort of older players playing state cricket and Ranji Trophy, there is a huge disparity in pay between those players and IPL players. As Ishant Sharma is in, struck on the back leg, half appeal. Burns looking to turn it to the leg side, but it falls out in front of him and given not out. It's probably quite high at the end of the over.
Yeah, talking about the pay disparity, I think recently now president of BCCI, he's increased the pay for first class cricket as well. So Obviously not as much as IPL, but it's still much better than what it was. So yeah, that's good news for domestic cricketers back in India.
So there's an opportunity then for players that might not necessarily play the shorter format to be able to get into the Indian team through doing well in those Ranji Trophy matches.
Absolutely. I think there's a policy there as far as white ball cricket is concerned. IPL plays a massive role, but when Test cricket is concerned, it's the first class setup.
78 for 2, England trailing by 286. Joe Root defends the ball to the offside out to deep point. There is a man positioned out there, Ishant Sharma, who casually runs to the ball and underarms it back in as England captain moves to 25, 79 for 2. Burns has looked assured in the last few overs or so as he's made his way to 40.
You know, Isha, what I would really like to see is Jadeja bowling from the nursery end.
So the assistance of the slope of the left arm spin as Bumrah attacks the stumps. Burns blocks the ball to the offside, no run.
Not just the slope, even if you look at the rough outside for a left-hander, it's a decent amount of rough there for someone like Rory Burns to kind of manage. So I wouldn't mind seeing Jadeja bowling from the nursery end, especially against left-hander Rory Burns there. I mean, that could be challenging.
Bumrah walks forwards now into a shuffle, into a hop skip, stutters and bowls to Burns, who's on the back foot defending back down the pitch, just dabs it in front of him.
If you're talking about Bumrah, a lot of people say he's got a very unorthodox action, which he does. A lot of people say it must be difficult, but I mean, for him it's easy, isn't it? So for us, looking at him, it looks could be a very difficult action to repeat and all. For someone like him, because that comes naturally to him, and I'm so glad that he's never thought of changing that action.
2 slips in the gully in position for Burns, who tucks this away out to deep backward square. Comes through for 1, will push for the 2 as well, as that is fumbled by Mohammed Shami in front of the grandstand. He now collects it and throws it in. Burns to 42. 81 for 2, England trailing by 283. Yeah, I think unconventional has been made quite trendy in the last few years, hasn't it?
True.
You think of Steve Smith, Rory Burns with his head pointing towards mid-on when the bowler's running in, bat hovering towards point. The back of the bat almost facing the bowler as he crouches down now. Bumrah bowls, and that is clipped away to deep backward square, this time straight to Mohammed Shami for 1, moves to 43, 82 for 2 England. And I guess Malinga was probably the first really unconventional
So Bumrah,
that we've seen.
Bumrah was actually picked up by Kiran More. He's from Baroda, and he saw him, and he plays for Gujarat, Bumrah. And saw him and was picked up. He has a fairly decent first-class record as well before he started playing in the IPL and playing for India. But then, Kiran More, got to give credit for Hardik and Krunal, the Pandya brothers, for Bumrah, and also, obviously, Mumbai Indians to have shown faith in them.
The England captain still in his crease, forward pressing and guiding the ball to backward point. Dive from Ishant Sharma, who is fielding there. I'm not sure why he's fielding there, as he sent back Joe Root.
Oh, wow, Ishant Sharma at point. And he does well there, actually. But to be on a serious note, with Joe Root batting, you want somebody else in that area, because he actually plays a lot of his shots through that area there.
He kind of just fell on the ball, didn't he? Ishant Sharma. He's walking in now. Backward point as Root leaves one outside the off stump. Good net delivery. That felt like a speedy delivery. 88 miles an hour, that one. As Bumrah came through. 83 for 2. Yeah, I do think that bowlers, when they're growing up, your joints are kind of forming, and the mechanism that you have to bowl, it's something that you get used to. especially in that age when you're growing. So, 12 to 15, and it's something that your body can actually get used to. So if you suddenly do change it drastically, this is me talking. I don't know mechanically what happens, but it feels like it's something that you can slip into easily, no matter how awkward it looks, because your body kind of fits to that mold. And then as soon as you start changing things, that's where you can have some problems. So it's almost, if you're going to change it early, so you have the chance to kind of mould into it. But
there you go, Jadeja's there from the nursery end.
Yep, you called for it. Deep backward square in position, short leg and a slip for Burns, who covers the ball outside the off stump, no run. It's got a backward point cover, mid-off, mid-on. Virat Kohli in catching mid-wicket, and a mid-wicket set back as Burns advances and pats the ball back to the bowler. There's Jadeja. Has the ball in his hands and is through his action. Burns, this time working the ball to short leg off the front foot, no run. Wearing his long-sleeved shirt, Jadeja, not tucked in, as he's past the umpire to Burns. Sweeps, struck on the pad, they go up. I think the impact was outside the line, hence given not out. Burns on 43.83 for 2. As Mark Ramprakash is slotted in beside me, as Jadeja bowls, Burns on the back foot defending to the leg side.
Very good afternoon to you, Isha. And a fascinating period of the game as Jadeja is introduced.
The left arm spinner is in again, a bit flatter as Burns whips the ball to mid-wicket, no run at the end of the over. 83 for 2, England trailing by 281. Burns on 43, Root 25. These two seem to be a little bit more settled out in the middle arc.
Well, it was classic Test cricket, wasn't it? England negotiated their way up till tea, all looked good, and then, as is the way with Test cricket...
In fact, I'm leaving you, sorry Mark.
What have I said? Well, I don't know whether to take this personally or not.
Simon Mann is in, he was keen.
It's a bit of squad rotation in the box here, but no, England, Root and Burns after those 2 quick wickets have weathered the storm, and they've built the partnership very nicely, each playing in their own individual way. And Rory Burns, fond memories of playing here earlier in the summer against a very good New Zealand side. He's looked fluent, played some excellent pull shots against Siraj, and Joe Root is going about his business, carrying on from Trent Bridge as Simon Mann is joined.
Here is Bumrah going into bowl to Root. Root is forward, playing that towards cover, and there's no running. And fighting hard here. They've had a half decent day. 7 for 88 to finish off India's innings, and after a couple of early stumbles, they were 23 for 2, now 83 for 2. The lights have come on. We've got a maximum of 50 minutes cricket left, 17 overs left in the day's play. 50 minutes in terms of time, more realistic. Lights firing up here. Bumrah goes into bowl to Joe Root, and Root drives, doesn't time it, back to the bowl. He picks up, and there is no run. And we've had overcast conditions for 2 days in this Test match, mainly anyway. But the forecast tomorrow suggests there might be more sunshine around. So quite an important 50 minutes here for Burns and Root if they want to bat in theory, better batting conditions tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily mean that, of course, but it does seem to have an effect. Root 25 not out. Bumrah's in his 9th over. He's only gone for 15 so far. Bowling from the pavilion end, into bowl to Root. Root fiddles that away, tries to run it down towards deep third, hits it straight at Jadeja, who's fielding it backward point, and there's no run. It's been a strange innings this for England, in a way slightly mirroring India's innings, where they were very slow, and then suddenly there was that burst of boundaries. What was it, 5 boundaries in 6 balls, and something like 6 boundaries in 12 in all, something like that, Andy, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5 in 6, 6 in 11.
6 in 11, yeah. Broke India's stranglehold. This is the 35th over, so England haven't scored particularly quickly, but without that flurry, they've gone absolutely nowhere. Bumrah bowls to Root. That's full, clipped away towards deep mid-wicket. Might get 2 here. And this is coming back. The second throws on its way to the non-striker's end. And Root, who's in excellent form at the moment, moves to 27 and England to 86 for 2. So they're still 278 runs behind. But they are chipped away at the damage that India did yesterday when they made 276 for 3.
Burns has scored 19 off his first 80 balls and then hit 4 fours in 5 deliveries.
Back with Bumrah. Goes into bowl to Root, and Root plays that beautifully through the offside for 4. Times it up the hill. He beat the dive at cover. It was so well timed and placed as well. Slightly open face on the drive, getting wide of cover, and it sped away. It was no more than a push really, using the pace of the ball, but it was so well timed. Sort of angled drive.
It's the modern bats these days, you know. They just do all the work for the player. But no, Joe Root at his fluent best.
90 for 2, Root to 31. Bumrah goes in and bowls to him, and Root plays that with a thickish outside edge. Goes towards square cover, and there's no run. Root given not out twice LBW decisions that India reviewed, but both of them were going down the leg side. One considerably closer than the other, or closer to the leg stump. One was actually nowhere near in the end. So India are down to 1 review. England have got 3 left. Sibley out for 11, Hamid for 0 first ball. 90 for 2 is the score. Here is Bumrah. Goes into bowl to Root. That's on the pads, turned away for a single towards deep back of square leg. Through for another run. I've got a question for you, Zoltz, and I don't know the answer to it, and I wonder whether you can. Stefan Schemmelt is writing a piece for the BBC Sport website tonight. He's writing 2 pieces actually, one a match report, which you can read later, and something on golden ducks, which is a first ball 0, which Hamid got today. And he says there are 2 players, I don't understand why or how, there are 2 players in history who are registered as having been out first ball for 1. One of them is William Whitty before the First World War, and the other one is Sanath Jayasuriya. He says they were out for 1 first ball. I say that's impossible unless they scored a run off a no ball, and that doesn't count. So it's a first legitimate ball.
Well, that would count as 1 off 2 balls.
Exactly. Yeah.
Some of the old Whitty played before the First World War, so there might be some scorecard anomalies in that. We'll see. You could be run out for 1 off 1.
Yeah, and he said neither were run out as well. So it's like 2 + 2 = 5. How is that possible? Here's Jadeja going into bowl to Root, who squeezes the ball away past short leg off a thickish inside edge, and they're through for a single. 92 for 2. I'd say there must be a mistake, surely. It's got to be a mistake, hasn't it? Anyway, I just wonder whether you come across it.
No, I haven't, but I can dig around if you want. There have been 3 no balls in Jasprit Bumrah's spell so far that we may have missed on commentary. They're signalled late, so sometimes they slip through. Yeah. 3 and 4 overs. 92 for 2. Now Jadeja's going to bowl to Burns with a slip and a short leg in. Burns goes back. He struck on the pad, but I think there was an inside edge on that as well. Right back into his stumps. There's a yelp from Jadeja. Jadeja bowling into some rough outside Burns's off stump. Yeah, thickish inside edge there onto the pads. India 272 ahead. Jadeja bowls to Burns, who goes for the slog sweep there and misses it. Ball outside the off stump, and Pant takes it in a flash and whips off the bails. Over the top of that, trying to employ the slog sweep, and Root says, hold on a second, Rory, the fielder at deep back of square leg is moving a bit squarer. Jadeja to Burns, very full, clipped away towards short leg. It goes to the short leg fielder who claims it, but that was into the ground. Just for a moment there I thought, was that bat into boot and then out to short leg, but there's no significant appeal. That one, Burns turns away to mid-wicket and there's no run. 92 for 2. Jadeja's second over. Moves in to bowl to Burns, and Burns is right back into his stumps, trying to play a forcing shot, but can't get any power in it. Goes back to the bowler who picks up, and there's no run. It's the end of the over, so Jadeja 2 overs for 1. England 92 for 2, 272 behind.
Burns 43 and Root 33.
Yeah, I was saying about the England have weathered the storm and forming a partnership here, both playing very well, both batters playing very well, but you've got a couple of bowlers on, or in Bumrah and Jadeja, who you just cannot relax against. And as I say that, there is a change at the pavilion end with, I think, Siraj being reintroduced, but Bumrah with his unorthodox action, the ability to move the ball both ways, Jadeja, who bowls his deliveries very quickly, doesn't give you much chance between deliveries, and they're at you. And whilst you may see periods where there's not necessarily much run scoring going on, the cricket has still got a great intensity to it. These are two really good teams going at it, and both battling for the ascendancy. But this partnership now getting up to 69, I think, for England, as just noticeably the lights seeming to take effect as it gets a little bit more overcast late in the day.
Yeah, you can see the shadows cast by the floodlights now. Root gets the ball outside the off stump, which he forces for 4 up the hill towards the grandstand. Or it might not go for 4, it's knocked back. Very good fielding by Jadeja. Haul it in. And Root has to settle for 2. Timed that quite well off the back foot, but Jadeja's fast and the outfield is slow relatively for Lords. So only 2 runs to Root. He goes to 35. And England's 94 for 2. Prior to India's 364. Another 5 for Jimmy Anderson today. 7th at Lords. England helped by 2 early wickets. Siraj bowls to Root, who off the back foot guides that away. To the right of Jadeja, to the left of cover. And they're through for another run. 95 for 2. What was the score after, well, how long did it take England to get to 35, Andy?
Well, they were 42 after 26 overs.
Right, so they really have scored quickly in the last 10.
Yeah, 53 off the last 10.2.
Yeah, so 5 and over. A complete contrast to the cricket we've seen today, where run scoring has been really hard and beginning to get away a bit. Siraj to Burns, who's forward, pushing that towards Ishant Sharma, who's fielding at mid-off, and there's no run. Any joy with William Whitty and Sanath Jayasuriya?
Well, I found the scorecards. There's no real explanation for it other
but
than
it does say it, does
glitches,
it?
Yes.
Does it say 1 off 1?
Yes.
And for Jayasuriya as well?
Jayasuriya apparently 1 off 1 in 10 minutes and was out with the score at 1 for 1. So that doesn't quite add up to me. So I think it's probably just a rogue scorecards.
So 2 rogue scorecards basically. Siraj bowls to Burns, he clips that nicely through forward square leg up to the grandstand. India have a sweeper out there, Pujara, so it's only a single. 96 for 2. Burns to 44. I don't know if anyone out there can help us, but you can email us.
Do you not have Sanath Jayasuriya's phone number? You could ask him yourself.
No, I don't. But anyway, it's something that Stefan came across, and he was trying to explain it. Apparently, neither were run out. Can you confirm that? Neither were run out. Yeah, Andy nods his head. But it says 1 off 1 in the scorecard. Siraj bowls. Root gets another full ball, which he clips away down to fine leg. This time, Shami is there. Underarm return? No, not this time. First about overarm return I think I've seen from him in the series. Root to 37. England ticking along here. 97 for 2.
Of course, the other thing is, Simon, is that the left-hand, right-hand partnership, and the Indian bowlers having to adjust every time, and also the fielders. The fielders are doing some yards.
Siraj over the wicket to bowl to Burns. Burns nudges that into the leg side for another single. To the left of the mid-wicket fielder as that fielder looks at it, Rahane. And Burns to 45, and that's the end of the over as well, so he takes the bowling. And the partnership between these two,
75 in 22 and a half overs. It scored 19 from the first 12, something like that. So they picked up the pace.
Chris Hughes says good afternoon. He says stumped off a wide delivery after scoring a run.
Yeah, but that wasn't the case. I mean, yes, you could be one out for one off one technically in the scorebook if that was the case.
But they weren't stumped.
No, that wasn't the case.
They weren't stumped, right? Okay. Well, that's a good effort. Rams is staying out of this. It's stumped me anyway.
The Jai Surya one was relatively
well, how was he out?
He was caught behind off Wasim Akram for one. That was back in 1994. So someone might remember it. The Bill Whitty one, sadly, back in 1911.
Yeah.
Not too many fans left in that one.
Here's Jadeja, bowls to Burns. Burns goes back, guides it towards cover. And there is no run. 98 for 2. So Jadeja's bowling with a short mid-wicket, a short leg and a slip. Goes in now to bowl to Burns, who clips it past the short leg fielder to the left of mid-wicket and jogs through for a single. 99 for 2. Burns to 46. Ramps is mentioning his 100 in that New Zealand Test match, first innings, that New Zealand Test match early in the summer. Jadeja round the wicket to bowl to Root. Root stretches forward, dabs into the offside. They're off for a quick one here, testing the backward point fielder, but he's not equal to it. There's a fumble and they're through. That was a real push and run, that was. Looked up to see whether Burns was prepared to come, and he was. Scooted through, hundreds on the board. And Root to 38. Pranav Sharma says, can he be run out for one off one ball? Faced. Run out, running second. Yes, you can, and that goes to short legs. They appeal for a catch. Off the bat of Burns, it wasn't. It must have come off the pad. Jadeja really wanted that, but nothing from the umpire and no review. But that wasn't the case. They weren't run. Well, Jai Surya wasn't run out. So yeah, thanks very much. But we're no further down the line of solving that puzzle. Seeing the replay there, Burns stretching forward, taking on the pad. Jadeja bowls, but turns in slowly to Burns, possibly out the rough. He plays it firmly towards Kohli at mid-wicket. Just looking at the old treasure, there was nothing on that short leg one. Jadeja bowls, Burns plays quietly into the onside, there's no run. And it's time for the shipping forecast on Radio 4 Longwave. We'll be going on 5 Sports Extra, Digital Radio, BBC Sport website and BBC Sounds app. But goodbye to our Radio 4 Longwave listeners briefly. 100 for 2 with 35 minutes cricket left. Down to 13 overs left, but we won't get all those in there unless the light takes us off the field. It is overcast, the Lords, and brightness in the distance out to the west. And the lights are on, but on we go at the moment. I just don't remember, have we gone off for bad light in this test match yet? So have they got the light meters out and taken a reading? I don't think they have they? Because we were off for a few showers for rain yesterday.
Don't put that idea in people's heads, Simon.
Well, I'm afraid it'll be very firmly at the front of the umpires' minds. You know it, Zoltz, as well. Anyway, we have no influence up here. Siraj bowls to Root. Root gets one that jags back, comes down the hill. He guides it away, taking one hand off the bat, down into the slip cordon, where it's picked up by Rohit Sharma. And there is no run. Siraj in his 10th over. Both the wickets to fall, but with really quite innocuous deliveries. Simply poking a ball that was outside leg stump to forward square leg, where Rahul could probably hardly believe it, take the catch, and then Hamid cleaned up by straight one first up. Here is Siraj bowling to Root, who forces that away. Jadeja prowling at backward point, gets to it but can't prevent the single. That was good positive running. A slight fumble from Jadeja. It's quite close to him though, but they ran with the shot. Jadeja's deep, so they got through. 101 for 2. Root to 39. Yeah, the reason we're talking about that, Jai Surya and William Whitty, those dismissals, because Hamid was out first ball today. Anyway, you can read Stefan's piece on the BBC Sport website to see whether he's solved the puzzle. Having posed the question, he might not even bother including it in his piece, but that'll be up later. 101 for 2. Burns on 46. He waits for Siraj, who comes in now and bowls around the wicket. Burns covers up, plays defensively up to Ishant Sharma. What do you think about the pitch, Rams?
The pitch, well, it's been a pretty good Test match pitch so far, hasn't it? I think I was talking to the groundsman earlier, and he felt that it was slightly slower than the New Zealand pitch earlier in the year. But Mark Wood has got his speeds up. We saw Moeen Ali turn a ball sharply, but the batters have been able to make runs, so everyone's in the game.
Siraj to Burns. Burns plays into the onside towards mid-wicket. Hani is there, and there is no run. 1 or 2 have kept low outside the off stump.
Yeah, I think Michael Vaughan was talking about, he feels it will keep lower as the game goes on. And we've seen India operate in the last half hour, particularly by bowling straight lines. And I think that's partly allowed England, with this left-hand, right-hand partnership, to rotate the strike either side of the field. So they've enjoyed that. But I think India feeling that the odd one may stay low.
Siraj to Burns. Burns I thought for a moment he was caught there in the gully, but it must have bounced just in front. And that's not the first time that's happened. He plays sort of a cut shot, and it goes to KL Rahul. They're just going to check this to see whether it did carry. They're not sure. Welcome back to our Radio 4 long wave listeners. The umpires are consulting here about a low catch, and what's the soft signal? Not out. Well, it went to KL Rahul in the gully, and he wasn't sure. So if the fielder's not sure and the soft signal's not out, then it's almost certain you feel to go in favour of Rory Burns. It happened so quickly. It's a flash outside the off stump. It's deliberately played. It was very nicely pouched by Rahul. Right, we're going to see it now on our television monitors. Back cut guide. Has it carried? Oh, it's just on the right of our picture there. It's difficult to tell.
The ball bounced up into the hands there. Do you have any other angle on the catch there, please?
It's really hard to tell because it's right on the edge of our picture.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. I'm ready with my decision. Ready with my decision for the big screen.
Well, it's been given not out. And we saw one angle, but you could barely see it really. It was really hard to tell definitively, but I suppose there was enough doubt. The fielder wasn't sure. Siraj bowls to Burns. Burns plays towards mid-on, and there is no run. We've seen a few edges gone just short of sit fielders in this England innings. 101 for 2 at the end of the over. We've got half an hour's cricket left. More from you, Ramps, and then Jonathan Agnew.
Yeah, it was an attempted cut shot really, or a sort of a late cut from Rory Burns, something that Joe Root is very prolific at, and just falling short. And I think the reason why Richard Kettleborough gave it not out so quickly was that one frame the ball was very close to the ground, the next frame it had bounced up into the palms. You could see quite clearly a difference, and I think that's why he was so confident that it was a not out.
Well, the light isn't very good, but Jadeja bowling his spin will be okay. It's a question of whether it deteriorates any more, and they don't like the fast bowler up at the far end, but if they do go off for bad light now, that'll be it for the day. They won't come back. 101 for 2. Root on strike. Jadeja bowls to him, tossing it up on the off stump. Root is forward, plays that away to the man who's crouching under the helmet, but not on the leg side. It is actually fairly deep in the offside, at least deep for someone wearing a helmet. Root clips his way to the leg side and picks up a single to Rohit Sharma coming in off the boundary edge. So he'll keep trotting in because the left-handed Burns is on strike. 102 for 2. England are 262 runs behind. They've rebuilt since that wobble of 2 wickets and 2 balls. And Jadeja goes over the wicket now, and that's clipped by Burns firmly. Short leg fields and quickly whips the ball back to punt, as Burns rather instinctively set off for a run there. But they got back in time. Floodlights on. Jadeja again bowls a flatter one this time, which Burns does get away into the leg side to deep backward square leg. One more run, 103 for 2. So a long way for England to go, though.
Evening, John.
Tough as good evening.
I've been timing Jadeja's overs.
They're quick, aren't they? And he goes again and bowls. That's tucked away into the leg side. Root playing that very cunningly. He wants 2. Sharma's coming in. He still wants 2, but Burns says no. Probably a good decision. In a one-day game, you might have had the 2 there, but Root just tapped it and immediately thought that's going to be 2. He played it absolutely deliberately. But Burns wasn't having any of it. 104 for 2.
His maidens. Hold on.
And he goes again and bowls, and that hits Burns on the pad. Is the end of it? Yeah, another lightning over.
Lightning.
But it needs to be, because the over rate again is down.
It's 90 seconds, John.
Is it? Well, he's pulling it back, but
It's 90 seconds.
both teams were fined 40% of their match fees at Trent Bridge and docked Test Championship points.
There'll be a negative equity.
Well, they will.
Yeah. And a little bit skint.
I mean, 40%. I don't know quite how it works. I don't think you'll write a cheque out.
I don't.
Pay ICC.
Do you take cash?
Yeah, because the ICC doesn't pay them.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the payment of the over rate fines actually works.
When I was on tour, we used to get paid per diems and everything. And I always used to keep a little bit back because I always then used to get fined. And I used to go up and see the old manager and say, "Do you take cash?"
Very sensible. In comes Siraj and bowls, and Root wants a single, and he gets 1-2 into the offside. The best one, I think, was David Gow when he went flying in his Tiger Moth.
Yes.
He actually asked for an advance on his expenses
did he?
from the tour manager, Peter Lush. And David said, "Any chance? I'm a bit skid, Lush. You need to buy dinner tonight. Any chance of having a bit of an advance on my expenses?" And Peter Lush said, "OK," and handed him out where it was. And David went straight off to the airfield and paid for his flight. Yeah,
Funny.
it was funny. It's a funny experience all the ways round, isn't it?
It was indeed.
Bruce McGarvey. I'll never forget the name.
Who was that?
Siraj bowling, and that's clipped away by Burns out towards square leg for a single. Well, for a man who just forgets names all the time now, I'll never forget Bruce McGarvey. He was the pilot.
Yeah.
That was in 1991.
Well, there must have been 2 pilots, mustn't there?
Well, there must have been a second one, but he was David's.
Yeah.
Because I remember the quote, which was that Bruce appeared before the press.
Yes.
He said, "Oh, mate," he said, "David wants to take some water bombs up and drop them on the players." But I said, "No, you can't do that, mate."
No, you can't do that.
So that was the plan.
Yeah. I was surprised.
Anyway,
Bruce
it was an advance in expenses that paid for it from the management.
Yeah.
It was a very, very funny day.
It was.
106 for 2. Siraj moves in, bowls to Root, who takes his bottom hand off the bat handle there. Just bounced a little bit. Played out to mid-wicket.
I remember sitting there waiting to go into bat. We just heard this sort of like in the distance, and then we sort of like, what's that? And then it was like
strange noise.
And then also as they were coming up the sort of horizon,
straight between the floodlight pylons.
Yeah, dive bombed us. Brilliant.
106 for 2. Here's Siraj bowling to Root. Oh, it goes for drive, and that comes cutting back. Oh, that almost found the edge. And Root's had so little loose balls to feed on in this innings. That's a bit frustrated there, perhaps. They have bowled really well at him, but that came cutting back a long way.
Long way, yeah.
Long way.
Scrambled scene.
Went between the bat and pad.
Real scrambled scene.
Yeah.
Not a great
loose.
Not a great imitation of a tiger moth, that, but hey ho.
No, but I think we got the message. I was sitting with Chris Martin Jenkins, actually. We heard the same thing. Coming down. Coming down between the lights. What is that noise? Look suspiciously at each other. Then comes Siraj bowls, and there's a single for Root, flicking it away down to fine leg. 107 for 2, and then suddenly,
I know.
And they sort of waggled the wings and off.
Yeah.
Oh, it was funny. And they went back, because they returned to the ground. It was still a bit of a secret at that stage as to who it was, but then word got out.
Yeah, but they had a sort of oil all over their faces, didn't they?
Well, word got out, and they went back to the airfield for more photographs. So the photographs that you see of those two were actually taken after the event when they went back to go and see Bruce. 107 for 2.
Those were the days of touring.
Siraj bowls. Oh, it's flicked in the air, but safely. So a moment there, it looks like he popped it up to the man at short mid-wicket, but it's another single to Burns. He goes to 49 now.
He's got some rhythm, hasn't he, Burns?
Yeah.
Once he gets over that initial stage, when everything's all a little bit twitchy, a little bit Dreyfus.
Yeah, he seems to get naught or a score.
Yes, that's right. But then once
he almost
all those
got naught today.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Once all those moving parts start sort of clicking into gear, he actually goes along quite nicely.
Yeah, it's a rhythm, isn't it?
Yes, it's all rhythm, all tempo.
It's a rhythm all of his own.
Yes, it is.
But that's fine. He understands it.
Yes.
They're doing well to stay on here because light is not good.
Yeah,
And it's, you know, the fact that Kohli has now taken Jadeja off and has now come for Shami suggests to me that he thinks, you know, I think we might have had enough for today because these two are playing well. I don't really want to give them any more time at the crease. I'll be happy to go off now and come back tomorrow.
Yeah, you usually know when it's getting a bit dark. It's because there's sort of like flashes off the bat stickers and things, and little sparks of light where it picks up
and the shadows at the umpire's feet particularly.
Yeah.
So Shami's bat just pace at both ends. So I think Kohli said, right, these two are batting nicely.
Let's get off.
Well, there's only 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, bouncers perhaps. Perhaps we'll see some bouncers.
Well, the man out a deep square leg. Shami's on his way round the wicket. Bowls outside, Burns is off stump. He doesn't play a stroke at that. And Pant collects it, but it's low dark cloud around, not many breaks in it. A solitary aeroplane makes its way to Heathrow in the distance. Still that Lord's hum. So it's been a really good day's cricket, lots going on. Wickets clattering in India's innings, 7 they lost.
Yeah, that was exciting.
And the hat-trick situation with Siraj. Poor old Hamid out first ball.
I've seen him sat up on the balcony.
He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Shami round the wicket. Bowles hits him on the pad. Appeal for leg before wicket is given out. Burns is out. LBW. They're going to review it. It was round the wicket, so the angle with the slope might have taken that down the leg side, but it looked a good shout from here.
Player review for LBW.
We'll have a listen.
The decision is out.
Close.
It's a fair delivery. Could move on to front on spin vision, please.
Better quality sound from the third umpire today. There's this hitting. It's hitting up on the flap.
Can you just keep that rolling through, please?
You're giving that out?
I'm just going to need to see ultra edge when available, thank you.
Umpire's call maybe for leg stump. I don't think it's hit it.
Ultra edge coming through now. Keep that rolling through. Flat lines, it goes past the bat.
Yep, nothing there.
Okay, there's no bat involved. We'll go to ball tracking when ready, please.
It feels like an umpire's call, this. I can just see the leg stump behind his pad.
Yeah, hit just above the knee roll.
And so these umpires have done a terrific job again. Let's have a look at this. Red.
Ooh.
Yep, hitting leg stump, top of leg stump.
Impacting line and hitting the wickets. Going to go back to Richard on field. Good to save your original decision. You're on camera now.
Yeah, they get it spot on.
They are very, very good umpires, and all the reviews that you get for the not outs generally are shown to be not out. Good innings from Burns. He was lucky in the first over. A catch just dropping fractionally short of second slip. He's made a good 49.
Yeah.
But the umpire's got to be a bit careful here because the light isn't good.
No.
And it would not be fair on Burns if they suddenly go off now, which happens sometimes.
Yeah, you'd be spitting feathers, wouldn't you, if you're Burns? But he's played nicely. He's weathered that early storm, as you say, for a little bit fortuitously, but he's done a good job for his side then. That would just look like it sort of skidded onto him a little bit quick, and that might be the light, Aggers. You know, it just seemed to rush him, and he just sort of couldn't catch up with it with a bad. And
well, they're having a conversation, the umpires.
Oh, you can't come off
Goff
now.
Towering over Richard Illingworth. Well, no.
Now, can you?
Do we have a night watchman situation? That's the question. But at the moment, it looks like Johnny Bairstow coming out. I recognise the entrance there, the side skipping, the whirling of the arms. So he's coming out with 20 minutes to go. It is Johnny Bairstow, it's confirmed.
Crucial little period now. India with the tails up.
Yeah.
They'll be hunting a couple more tonight.
Horrible time to come out to bat.
Ooh, yes.
It really is. It's grim light. You've got a fresh chamois on. And Bairstow's making his way out into the middle.
Just looked like it brushed him a bit there, Aggers. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it did.
Just sort of, oof.
Yeah.
And he was sort of back in the crease, trapped in the crease a little bit. Couldn't quite get the bat down on it. Good angle from Shami. Always coming into the left-hander.
Lots of prodding of the pitch going on there. Joe Root's having a conversation with his Yorkshire teammate.
I think Joe might just be letting the umpires know here. He might just be saying, hold on, take your time there, Johnny, because we might try and get off here as quick as possible.
I don't see many breaks. I mean, there's a brightness way over in the west.
It's gloomy.
It is gloomy.
See the old chandeliers in the pavilion usually is a good clue.
It is. So Bairstow marks his guard. 3 slips are lined up. Shami buoyed by that wicket, is ready to go. It's 108 for 3. So still 256 runs behind. And of course with this new format, Butler's in next. Moeen. Shami's on his way, running away from us, bowls, and that's nicely played by Bairstow. He's pushing forward, playing defensively. Shami picks the ball up and fields in his follow through. One who they're likely. Night Watchman is there. Well, Jimmy Anderson's often the man, isn't he? Mark Wood?
Woody, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's done it before.
Yeah.
I think they'll be strapping them on now, whoever it is.
Scrabbling about. I'll be outside. I'd have gone missing by now.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be in the bath.
There's a nice cupboard at the Oval I remember hiding in once. 108 for 3. Shami's on his way. The short mid-on, bowls very full outside the off-stump. Bairstow ignores it.
What, sort of put a lot of towels over it?
I felt a bit guilty. It was the West Indies. Didn't fancy it very much. I knew there was a place down there, and I timed my return. I said, "Oh, do you not want me to do it, David?" Because Pat Pocock, bless him, was strapped up. And I heard him say to Bernie Thomas, because the wicket fell, he said, I've gargled and I've brushed my teeth in case I need the kiss of life. And out he went.
No.
Yeah, horrible. And he got naught, but I think he did see it. I think he saw it through to the next. I think he did his job.
Percy Pope.
Yeah. Shami bowls, Bairstow's forward, Croops off an edge, going for a quick run there. Jadeja's dangerous, throws the ball and misses them, and there'll be overthrows.
Buzzers!
And that'll give Bairstow 5. There was no one at the stumps.
Worth a throw.
Yeah, Siraj couldn't back it up. So a speculative throw. Kohli's looking a bit perplexed, but I think Jadeja's probably right to do it, because it was a bit of a scampered run. And he took aim and just hurled the ball. He was comfortably in, wasn't he?
That's a little bonus. That's a bonus.
Yeah, so Bairstow's 5.
Old Shiraz, the fast bowler, was just a little bit stiff. He was just like,
he's not going to get that.
No.
I'm not sure if even Jadeja himself would have backed that up if he were fielding there.
It's a real sling.
113 for 3. Yes, so poor old Percy, he'd already bagged a pair in the previous Test match at Old Trafford.
Oh, no.
Yeah, naught. Oh, whoa. That's interesting. Shami was just about to let the ball go, and Root backpedalled. Apologetically, he had his hand raised, saying, "I'm sorry about that."
Oh.
And now there's a bit of a rumpus. Oh, there's a steward appeared. I know that steward.
Right.
He always asks cricketing questions as you go past him, and he's poked his nose out behind the screen, and he's popped back in again.
Slap bang in the middle of the side.
He's like one of those weather clocks where the man just pokes his nose out. It's going to rain or something.
Cuckoo clock.
Anyway, he's popped back in again now. But no, not so. Root was blameless. What was he doing? 113 for 3. Shami's on his way again, bowls, and Root is forward, pushing out towards cover, and they take the run. 114 for 3. Root goes to 44. Yes, so Poropos is 0-0. Go to the Oval. Night Watchman 0. But the next day, so he had fended it off. It was horrible watching him, poor chap. I mean, he's whistling past his nose. So the second innings comes, and he said, "To hell with this." He said, I'm going down fighting. I'm not going to get another pair. So he went out. Michael Holding was bowling, not necessarily very pleasant.
No.
And he bowled a low full toss at Pocock. I think it was the sort of attempted Yorker. How do you think he bagged his second pair?
Edged it onto the stumps.
No.
Oh right, got a hit wicket. No, go on.
Caught and bowled Holding. Caught. I mean, it's got about the most least likely ways of getting out. So he bagged his second pair, caught and bowled Holding. An unlikely one.
Yeah.
114 for 3. Root's on strike, and Siraj moves in from the pavilion end, finds a thick edge, runs away out to backward point. And they'll take a single there. This time Jadeja just lobs the ball. He doesn't even go for pant this time. He tosses it away to one of his colleagues there in the field. Now Bairstow's doing a bit of gardening.
Rory Burns' final figures: 49 from 136 balls with 7 fours. The partnership was 85 in 26.5 overs. He accelerated through the middle part of the innings at one point after scoring 19 off 80, then got 24 off his next 26, but India bowled tightly to him before the wicket. 6 from 29 balls before the wicket that dismissed him.
Thanks, Andy. Bairstow taking guard. Still that man there at shortwood wicket, and also that very short, straight mid-on. Bit of a certain age. You might remember Terry Alderman Bowling to Graham Gooch with a man fielding there. Siraj on his way, bowls, Bairstow's forward, driving out to mid-off.
Hoggard to Hayden.
Yes, he was on the offside though, I think. The leg side, was he? Yeah. Just knocking back a catch.
I think. Might be wrong.
115 for 3. Time ticking away. Got about 12 minutes left. A low pass by Spider-Cam there. Siraj on his way again. Bowles and Bairstow apparently lots of time. Just plays forward.
I wonder what the pigeons make a Spider-Cam. They must think it's some sort of pterodactyl.
There aren't any pecking away on the ground, are there? That's a good point.
Pterodactyl? Well, that's going deep into the collective memory, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think they think it's one of those. They might think it's some sort of sparrow hawk or something.
Wow, no,
but there aren't any pigeons pecking around on the...
Not surprised, because they've been scared off by this thing whizzing around.
I saw the night watchman had it up there for a moment. I couldn't see who it was. He was in the bowels of the dressing room.
I think it was Wood.
Was it Woody?
It was Woody.
115 for 3. Siraj waiting. Bairstow bat raised, comes forward, plays slightly across that front pad. No run. He's on 5. 115 for 3. 2:49 behind. It's a horrid job, night watchman.
Yes.
I was going to say, but someone has to do it. But I always found myself arguing, why should someone have to go? Mark Wood is sprinting in. He's got 2 wickets. He's bowled his boots off. He's not paid to go out there and face the last 10 minutes.
It's for the team, no, John. He's got to take it for the team.
Siraj again bounds in. Oh, bowls a really good ball. They're putting for caught behind. Siraj thinks he's out. The umpire is unmoved. Bairstow is not moving anywhere, and Siraj is rushing off there, celebrating. Now, Kohli's turned his back on proceedings. He's not going to review this. The time is ticking away. They were convinced they all went up. Bairstow's leaning on his bat. Down to 3, 2, 1, 0. So they're not going to review it. And we'll have a look at a replay. But they did all go up. It looks to me on the replays we missed it by quite a long way. I don't know if Punt was convinced looking at that, but I think he's missed that by miles. He's brushed something. He's brushed his back pad. And they knew it.
Oh, he's very confident.
Very confident.
Oh, he's even got the he's even got the finger up to the lips.
He did. I think I might have to say something about that. Because he's celebrating the dismissal of Bairstow, giving him the shush send-off as he did at Trent Bridge, and he wasn't out. Siraj again bowls outside the off stump.
If I was Johnny Bairstow, I might have then sort of, when he's been not out, sort of run after him going, no, you shush. You shush.
Well, I think you're right.
Could have been a shush off.
No need for that. 115 for 3. Bairstow 5. Route 45. It's 10 minutes to go. And Simon Mann will see us through to the close.
It's absolutely confident as anything, though, that slip cordon of the Indians, and Siraj as well. So, yes, must have perhaps a bit of bat on pad or something. I mean, it looked good. But not out.
Flicked the back pad, didn't it?
Flicked the back pad.
Flicked the pad on the way through, yeah. But another wicket there, and then India will be right in control of the game. It's in the balance, 115 for 3. I mean, we need a partnership between these two, Root and Bairstow. Shami was running in there, and Root was backing away, looking over his shoulder down towards fine leg at something. Or perhaps he was looking at the wicketkeeper, he might have been saying something. Not quite sure what happened there, but anyway, on we go. Shami's got to walk back to his mark again. It's funny, isn't it? It says 8 overs left, but over 8 is 0 in terms of whether they're ahead or behind. So they're sort of level. This is where they're supposed to be. There was 9 minutes left, 8 overs left. It's fine. Shami bowls. Root gets a single into the offside, running it away towards backward point. Root to 46. And England to 116 for 3. So Burns 49, Sibley 11, Hamid 0, the men out. Wood ready to come in.
Good day, isn't it? Been a good day.
Yeah, it's been a tense day.
Yes.
A real struggle today for the batters. What are we looking at in terms of runs overall? There's also 88 plus 116. You're good on things like that.
204?
Yes.
Put me on the spot there, so
I got that one.
You're so good at it. Shami to Bairstow. Bairstow plays across his front pad there, gets one out towards deep back of square leg. They're not going to come back for the second. Siraj is onto it.
Don't miss that.
No, that was plumb LBW if you'd missed it, but that's what his bat's for. Play the ball, he managed to do it.
Oh.
But
now you tell me.
But I know what you mean. It was one of those, he sort of scrubbed across his front pad a bit.
Yeah, you wanted to try and be looking to knock them more mid-on than square leg.
Bairstow to 6. And England to 117 for 3. So 205 runs in the day.
Struggle.
In around about 80 overs. And Root gets a single into the onside that time again. It was homing in on middle and off. Root got the bat down just in time.
There's lots of oohs and ahs.
There are. Rahane picks up at back of square leg. And we've had 10 wickets in the day. So 200 for 10 day.
Good value. Bit of value that for the crowd.
What's a perfect day's Test cricket? I reckon
a few more runs.
300 for 12.
Oh, absolutely.
Something like that.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, 3-4 days of that.
You young people want it all, don't you?
It's the modern world, Zoltz. Shami bustles into Bairstow outside the off stump. Bairstow leans forward and lets it go through. And to be fair, last Saturday we did have something close to that. It felt like that sort of day. I can't remember exactly how many wickets, but it felt like quite a lot of runs and wickets happening, and it was I think probably the most exciting day of the summer so far. We're all cut and thrust.
Yes, 310 for 12, a run out. Nice run out. It's always quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
A wicket off a no ball.
Yes. A dog running across the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Shami bowls, and Bairstow this time does play to mid-on, as you requested him to do. And that bat out in front of the pad pushes it up to Ishant Sharma. And there is no run. So there is one ball left in this over, and then the possibility of 2 more. But no more than that. How many do India want? Sharma here walking quite slowly back, having a chat with Ishant Sharma. If they got an eye on the clock here, they might squeeze another one in before the close of play. Here is Shami to Bairstow. Bairstow, oh goodness me, left that. That was so close to off stump, and it went through low as well. Low outside the off stump. I'm betting there's going to be 1 or 2 LBWs as this game goes on. 118 for 3, end of the over.
He's a scuttler, Shami.
Yeah.
This Saturday at Trent Bridge, I think it was 330 runs and 11 wickets. England went from 25 for 0 to 303 all out, and India 52 for 1 at close.
There we go, 330 for 11 day. It felt like a good day, didn't it, last Saturday?
I reckon you're spot on.
That sort of goes into that, Venn diagram, the subset, everything intersecting.
And it's always nice to see both teams, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always nice to see both people bat, I suppose.
Which we have done today.
Yeah.
But it's been a grind for the batters today. Now, what's going on at that far end? Someone moving, and Root saying sit down. So I think a member going into the long room there. They're closing the door, and Root's obviously got an eye on the clock as well, and knows it's ticking towards 6:30. Just making sure he's disappeared. He has now, and here is Siraj to bowl to Root. Root turns it away down towards fine leg. Come off the pad there. Want to be inside edge onto the pad. Michael Goff, what have you got for us? Nothing. Inside edge onto the pad. A run to Root. Takes him to 48. And into 118 for 3. 119 for 3.
I was going to say something, but I won't. Just yet.
Okay.
Oh, I can't help myself. He's batted nicely, hasn't he, Joe Root?
Well, he has.
Yeah.
Very well. Again, and he's held it all together.
Yes, he has.
And he might not face again today, Thomas, so... There's no such thing as the commentator's curse.
I agree with you, but even I'm getting lured in by it now.
Siraj to Bairstow, and Bairstow plays defensively towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. Pujara scuttles away to his right to pick up. Yes, it's 6:27 and 14 seconds, and there are 4 balls left in the over. And Siraj is showing no great intent there to get back to his mark and
I think everyone's had enough. It's been, as I say, full of effort, full of endeavour. I think they're just a bit worn out themselves, this Indian side.
Some excitement going on in the crowd. It must be beneath us, we can't see it. There's some Compton Edrich stand. Siraj bowls to Bairstow, and Bairstow is beaten.
Has he left that?
Oh, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Played with it.
Lovely smile, little smile, Johnny. No, he didn't leave that. If that smile's got anything to do with it, because he just looked at Shiraz as he was eyeballing him. Just gave him a little grin.
Root comes down the pitch to have a chat with Bairstow.
Yeah, why not? 2 minutes.
Siraj back to his mark. Bairstow not quite ready. There's that little games within a game. And Siraj sets off to bowl to Bairstow. Bairstow comes forward and blocks it into the onside towards mid-wicket.
Might get it in. Might get another one in.
It might do. 28 and 35 seconds. 2 balls left in the over. What clock are they going by? Is it old Father Time?
Always.
And it's ticking around to 6:30. Best again, not quite ready. Root perfectly happy not to face again tonight. He's leaning on his bat at the non-striker's end. And now Siraj sets off what might well be the penultimate ball of the day. Bowls to Bairstow. Bairstow gets a full ball which he digs out into the onside. A good Yorker from Siraj. Goes to Bajara, and there is no run. Bairstow 6 not out with the benefit of those 4 overthrows. So it's nice to get off the mark with a 5.
Lovely.
119 for 3. And I think this will be the last ball of the day. It's going to be Siraj to bowl it. And again, Bairstow not quite ready. He is now. Settles over his bat, tapping away. Bat raised. Siraj moves in past the umpire, bowls to Bairstow, and Bairstow blocks that as well on the front foot, plays it towards mid-off, walks out towards square leg. What are the umpires going to do? They are going to step forward and remove the bails. So there we go, 119 for 3. It's been a battle for England, 45 overs. They've been out there. They're 245 runs behind. They fought back with the ball today, and there was that partnership between Root and Burns of 85, which got them back into the game after they were 23 for 2. But Burns out LBW with 20 minutes left to Shami. It's just tipped the game India's way. And an intriguing third day in prospect with the 2 Yorkshiremen walking off. Root and Bairstow. Root's played really well, 48 not out. And Bairstow with him tomorrow morning.
Battling day all round, wasn't it, for England? Did really well with the ball. I don't think it could have gone any better with the ball for England, and then lost those 2 quick wickets and had to get really stuck in, but they're still in the game. There's a weary-ish looking Indian side trudge off at Lord's. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, England have fought their way back into the game a bit today. 276 for 3 overnight. It looked all to be going India's way, but India on top, but England have just dragged them back a bit.